Yep.
When you're ready.
Should be good.
All right, give me a second.
Hey, Rick.
Hello, Rick. You can probably hear us. We're on the stream starting screen.
Should be able to.
Let me crack this open. I need to prepare myself a beverage. Sorry, we had some audio test difficulties and it was running a little bit. Yes, I'm a little gassy because I'll try not to say that, but I guess there it is. Give me 1 second here to get this.
I went ahead and put you on ceiling so that the music's not playing over our talk.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah,
that was good thinking, brother.
All right, let me try to get my notes and stuff up and going. By the way,
look at this. I have a croissant.
Yeah, I believe today is croissant day. So
look at this.
Right behind you, there should be one for you.
Oh man, that's
well, so, one of the dogs availed themselves of it.
That's amazing.
I think we're okay though.
Yeah, Jaxifer probably was not happy that.
Yeah, I had to tell him to leave it quite a few times too. It was in my bag. He kept nosing around on it.
Me and Coopy, thanks you, brother. Good stuff. So today is croissant day?
I believe so. If I'm wrong, then give it back.
All right. Well, before we go further with our croissant talk, we thank you everybody for showing up for our pastry chat today. Welcome to Addition Through Distraction. That's your twice a week vodcast where we work on crafting nerdy things, and during that, Randy helps keep me occupied with stimulating conversation, and as well as
and electric shock therapy.
Yeah, and that's coming along really good, Randy. I appreciate that.
There's only a few twitches left.
What twitches? I think everything's been working pretty seamlessly. Yeah, so that's where you are, and what you get is, you can strap on because you're ready for a whole day's worth of nerds sitting around talking to each other. So if that is not what you signed up for, keep it moving. Right? Nothing to see here for you, my good friend. But if you are, then you are in luck. Randy, I wanted to show here. I don't think I even have the M50 on yet, nor the lens off. Like I said, we were running a little behind this morning. I haven't really even had a chance to say good day to you, my friend. Good day, Randy.
Sir.
How
are you this fine morning?
I'm doing good. Let me go ahead and take care of some of that business stuff. Remind people that down in the links, we have our, the links to all of our good stuff down in what we call the cubelage, what some people refer to as the doublage and the vernacular, I believe, Randy, across the interwebs.
Why is that?
I don't know. I know there's a couple of people who use it. I know at least two that use it, and I think one credits the other. I think it might be the Green Brothers was, I think, probably the first that I've heard it. And there are some large YouTubers and also have, I think, some success in other areas as well. But we have all of our links down there. And one of the things where that's particularly relevant, Randy, was that yesterday I finally... I hope you can hear the weight of when I say finally.
Gravitas.
Yes, the gravitas. I finally got confirmation of a first Amazon affiliate payment our way.
Nice.
Yes, and
it's been a while coming.
Yeah, that was for November, I think, because you get it like 3 months later. Yeah. So these were for the sales from November.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think it was actually October and November because they tried to give me my payment for October, which would have been, I think, maybe $5. I was really looking forward to it because, it was the first payment. And
pin it on the wall.
And it didn't go through because they closed my business account due to lack of funds. And I was like, but... So I got that reestablished. And and then I still couldn't see it, so I went into the bank and we did the paperwork to get the same account reestablished, and then I was trying to pull it up, and I still couldn't pull it up this week. I was like, but it was just a matter. It wasn't tied to my other account, so I finally got that all taken care of.
Okay, cool.
And I was going to do something to make sure that they didn't close the account, so I was going to actually transfer some funds. But did not need to do it because I saw that the Amazon affiliate funds were pending. So
nice.
I've had a lot of people ask about it, and please keep doing it because I noticed in January we haven't had anybody, I don't think, doing any clicking. So if you are inclined to do that, take a look at the recommended gear, and we sure do appreciate it. And then we also have the Patreon levels. If you just, want to pitch $1 our way, you can take a look at that. The links are there. And also to the Quasi Shop. Randy, we did post the scarecrows and the doors. Those are now available actually on the Quasi Shop. So those were posted. We also had our edited video of the roll box, which we did. And that's on our YouTube site. Check us out. We post daily on Instagram. So on and so forth. That takes care of, I think, all of that stuff. And hail and well met travelers. And I wanted to show you, Randy, if I can get the M50 working. How you doing today, my friend?
I'm good. Yeah, a little bit of a headache. Didn't get much sleep. I was working till about 5 a.m. I guess.
Oof. So
and
you
gotta go back and get right back on it until when I get home.
Have you had any sleep?
A couple hours, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's enough. Get to the salt mines, my friend. Where there's a whip, there's a way.
Today is Croissant Day, by the way. I was correct.
Yes.
And
Awesome.
tomorrow is Backwards Day. So in honor of that, since I'll be doing the podcast sitting backwards today. So that'll be fun.
Crisscross will make you jump. Daddy Mac will make you.
So, I can't quite reach the keyboard like this, though. That's not going to work.
Well,
It's a little difficult with the arms crossed behind my back.
it is a wireless keyboard. Is that cheating?
Oh, that's true. But I still wouldn't be able to see what I'm... Oh, maybe I can look over at yours.
Is that cheating? I don't know. I'm not sure what's cheating and what's...
No, I'm not doing that. Fuck that.
All right. The M50 is, surprise, causing me a spot of bother.
Oh, it's being naughty.
Yeah, it is.
So
it's being
naughty.
No croissant for it, I tell you, Randy.
Absolutely not.
Speaking of croissants, there we go. What is your favorite topping for a croissant? Because I'm certain you have something and it will be delectable.
Toppings for croissants.
Yeah, are you just like a butterman? Is it cream cheese? What is the best
For
way?
a croissant, typically I like a very good croissant, which needs nothing. If it needs something, then it's not a good croissant.
Okay, that's fair enough. So yeah, if you put ketchup on the French fry, then the French fry has failed you. Is that kind of what we're going
No,
with?
ketchup's good.
No, man, ketchup.
Sweet potato fries don't. If they're good sweet potato fries, they don't need ketchup.
All right, Randy, can you check this out?
That's cool.
This posted on Instagram's yesterday. That we got. I think this was part of when you back the Kickstarters for like the Dwarven Forge and stuff. A lot of times, I think with them they give you like if you back at a certain level, you kind of get a swag pack sort of thing, and it was particularly interesting this year. I believe this one was for the Crystal Caverns one. And let me see here. I'll change it to the ceiling. I gave you a tote bag with some nice Caverns Deep. Got a dragon boat. And I think these are actually people of the Dragon Forge team, because it looks like this gent has a mohawk, and one of the guys that's always on their YouTube vids.
So is that affiliated with the Devil's Donut?
Well, not directly, but I have used their stuff to make adventures called the Devil's Donut. It's funny that you would mention that.
I like Caverns Deep. There's like that's beyond the Devil's Donut.
Yeah, Caverns Deep. And then you got this cool little. Let's see if I can give me a second here to adjust that.
Okay. Well, we need to start a donut shop called the Devil's Donut, if there's not already one in existence.
Yeah, and it just focuses on Devil's Food donuts. And if I switch that to there we go. There you go, Randy. Check this out. They gave you to this for like your D&D session as a
Nicely done.
Behold. Yeah, it is. It's got great artwork, and it's
Me likey.
Yeah, it's good paper it's well suited. But I think personally the piece de resistance is this metal D20 that they gave you.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
the 20 is a forge, an anvil, because the Dwarven
Sweet.
Forge. And I bet you this is going to be loud.
So that's your crafting die?
Yeah, let's see. What let's see, the difficulty, the room difficulty is 14, Randy. So we gotta meet or beat. Them's the rules. So let's see what we got. I don't know. Do we get any modifiers to our roll, Randy?
Yeah, +5 awesome.
+5 for awesomeness. Yeah. And and actually it was +4, but I got +1 for croissant awesomeness. Befriended via croissant. So let's see. Oh, son, we rolled a 17.
Oh.
So we didn't even need any of the pluses. We are meeting the room difficulty, so that bodes well for everybody.
Meeting and exceeding.
You did hear the way that thing clunked, right? Jesus, that is.
Yeah, we
Man.
have some of those dice that we've used in games before.
Uh-huh.
It's like you're scared to roll it on the wooden tables and stuff. Like, I don't want to damage your table, dude. So
You know,
you have to put a pad down or something.
Randy, I wish I could think of a segue. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh,
I
wait.
can. At the Quasi Shop, we happen to have roll boxes that would be wonderful for heavy metal dice such as
that's
this.
awesome.
And also, I will be honest with you, Randy, work equally well with any other dice I've ever thrown on it. Metal, adamantium, mithril, anything I've thrown at it, it's done. Unobtainium, it's all of those.
Vibranium? Can you roll a vibranium die, or does it just like bounce around?
No, it rolls you. But thank you for asking. So yeah, just wanted to show this. Actually, I posted on Instagram. I had it upstairs, and I was like, wait a minute, I actually wanted to show it to everybody on the stream. Oh, and also I want to thank Shay for coming in.
Absolutely, that was fun.
And Randy, I want to thank you as well. I know that both of us, that new people is not our strong suit, and you'd never met Shay before. I really thought that once you'd seen her, you were going to be like, oh yeah. So I appreciate your willingness to bring her in here and share our time with her.
Of course.
I did have a lot of fun with her, and like she was the first time she thinks she was being maybe patronizing when I was like, you're going to say, oh really? But the second time it was legit. I could see the look on her face when time was over. She was like, really? That was 2 hours? And apologies for my impersonation. I know I do everybody's impersonation in a way that they don't like, but I got to hear that after in the post show. Carrie very correctly, I might add, was giving me my due comeuppance for my inaccurate impersonations of her. So, all right. So sorry, I got fixated on cleaning a brush there, my friend. So I'm gonna pull this map out of there. Man, it looks like the N50 is gonna be extra cranky today, but we'll just use that for close-ups, and it means, I guess, no auto. Oh, and Randy, also, one other thing, one other business point was Ducey, John, came in on Sunday, and we recorded a session 0. I think I mentioned that maybe on the last session. And he will be doing that monthly. The first one, the session 0, since it was just... I wasn't actually doing any crafting, and we were just kind of, it was a little loose and informal. I just did an audio of that only, and actually posted that's a Patreon only post. So if anybody is a Fando level supporter above, gets actually access to that. And that went up yesterday. So did want to mention that as well. And we talked about everything, Randy, from the Illuminati.
Uh-huh.
And, the colonel and his wee beady eyes and that smug look on his face, to LBJ's bunghole. So, we ran a gamut. As we do here on Addition Through Distraction. You, Randy, as much as anybody, have been able to appreciate the charm, and we'll put that in quotes, of conversations between me and our friend, Ducey. John 1 and John 2. That's why I'm John 1. He's John 2. I'm the originator, none greater, and he is the Ducifer. But it was good to see him, and he surprised me with gifts so that was I was taken aback, and but it was good to see him, and look forward to future conversations. We also played a little bit of Rocksmith afterwards, and
nice.
Yeah, and I think he's gonna maybe try to get him into that. And Randy, we were discussing that as we discuss a lot of game stuff on our show here. That I didn't realize that Rocksmith cord. It looks like you can use that cross-platform. So it uses that. I think it's called a real tone cable. If you're using the proprietal USB to stereo jack connector, And but I think you can use that on the Xbox or the PS4 because I think you just need the USB, to connect into any of those, and that's what the box said. So
Nice.
haven't tested it, but I ended up buying an extra one just to give it a try. So we may have to give that a go, Randy, because I know that you were looking to get into it, but you didn't really necessarily have a good laptop or something to.
Yeah. My laptop, I had a very nice laptop, and it had a very unfortunate accident.
Did it involve Mountain Dew? A lot of yours seems
to involve a Mountain Dew.
Can I ask you what's the count for Mountain Dew versus Randy on laptops?
That was the one.
Oh, it was just one. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought there was another one.
But yes, it's big enough of a unfortunate event to keep on counting.
That we need to get a restraining order for Mountain Dews and
Yes.
between Mountain Dews and laptops.
It was just horrible. It was the one time that I put it in that, I had it in between my desk and my bed.
I do remember you telling me this. If I just want to give people a little foreshadowing here, I believe that if I recall correctly, there's a bunch of events to where something's happening, and as you try to make it better, you keep making it worse.
Yeah, it's like this is.
And it was as if you just opened up.
This is my life.
As if you opened up basically the battery pack and just dumped the whole thing in and closed it and then stomped on it.
It was just everything that could be the worst possible scenario all at once in this one instance of the only time that I did this thing. And it was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's like the Mountain Dew tipped over, poured across the desk, down over the side of the desk, and directly into the vent of the laptop. Yeah. I was like, that's $1,000 down the drain. Thanks so much.
I just imagine the cans, you see it and it's starting to shoot out of your hand, and you're trying to grab it, and and you're touching it and you're smacking it, and you're keeping it in air, and then then it bounces off the wall, and then as you go to grab it, that last time you almost have it, you take it and you just come downwards and you just put it right in the hole, and just the force is causing you to shake as you're giving your laptop a Mountain Dew enema.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I looked to see maybe it's just I just need to replace the motherboard or something. Yeah. So I looked at that, but it was
it's not
the cost of motherboard by itself was ridiculous.
Yeah, and then if it doesn't work, which is very likely,
exactly,
because
it could be
we're not very experienced in replacing those motherboards. Yeah. Not that stuff. A lot of that stuff is kind of is more DIY than some people might think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wouldn't look forward to spending that kind of cash on. I had the same thing with a dishwasher, and I was trying to, replace it, and I think I spent $150 on some parts, to try to do it, and it didn't work. And then the next thing was a motherboard, which is going to be $300-400. It's there's the sunk cost fallacy. Randy, are you familiar with that term?
Sounds familiar.
Can you write down a term for me so I don't forget? You can put it anywhere that you want. You can stick it anywhere, Randy. And it's going to be, you can put it at the bottom of the chat agenda if you want, or...
What is it?
There anti-serendipitous. And then on a separate line is sunk cost fallacy. And sunk cost fallacy is the term where it's simply throwing good money after bad, sort of. And let me know when you can process.
You said sunk cost?
Yeah, sunk. As in a sunk ship.
Oh, sunk.
Yeah. Sunk cost fallacy. So the sunk cost fallacy...
now, is that phallus? Or
it's a phallus, you see. Yes. Always a good time for a bad pun, in my estimation. Hold on 1 second, Randy. I need that. Step away.
This is a cost benefit ratio situation.
Yeah. So what the sunk cost fallacy, though, is basically where, say that something is going to cost $1 million. We're going to build a bridge, right? It's going to cost $1 million. All right. Now we messed up the bridge. We realize, and we're going to have to spend another $1 million on it, right? Mm-hmm. That's okay. you know, we're going to do it. We're going to get it done. Okay, so now we've got $2 million in this bridge. Well, now it turns out that it's wrong. We're going to need to put another $1.5 million, but you've already put in $2 million, right? So let's see this through. And there's a point to where the benefit that you get out of it becomes more, and you don't care. You're willing to spend more money on it just because you wanted to get something out of it rather than nothing. And just the value mentally that you put on that is out of whack.
Well, you have to fight against I've already sunk so much into this. If we don't complete it, then oh my God, what do we like?
Right, and that's the thing is the sunk cost is that we've sunk so much money into this. Let's go ahead and even if let's spend $500 more. Well, we're only going to get $250 benefit out of the whole thing. It doesn't matter. You know, we put this much. Let's get something for our money. And that's basically sunk cost fallacy. So that applied to what you were saying earlier, and I don't remember what it was.
It's tied to the cost-benefit ratio and the ignoring of the cost-benefit ratio.
Yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was anti-serendipitous. So serendipity, my question to you, Randy, is serendipity only...
Oh, hold on. It had to deal with, I assume, the difference of the cost of the laptop versus the cost of replacing the
yes, thank you.
Component.
Sunk cost fallacy. Yeah, and that's what I was experiencing with the washing machine, with the dishwasher. Not the washing machine, it was a dishwasher, and it was just like, well, you know, you've spent that $150, and it's like, yeah, but you know, at what point does it become worth it? I'd rather get a new one with a warranty and. And then I think we ended up getting a really nice Bosch one, which I fell in love with.
A nice washwoman?
Well...
Is that what you said?
I do regard my my appliance, my dishwashing as a female. Bosch, I regard her as a female.
Basha.
Basha. Basha Yar.
Basha.
Basha. Basha. Basha. Washa. Writes itself, Randy.
Oh my God, I have to say real quick, I just had the last bite of my croissant. Delectable. That was the last bite was just absolute perfection.
Well, I respect that.
Well done, Tim.
I'm trying not to eat on mic. I'm trying to be respectful. I have to drink off mic every once in a while. Just because, you know, I need a drink to help me think, you know what I'm saying right now?
Well, you sound like Sammy Davis.
Well, I do. Oh, man. I do. I'm so in love with that episode of comedians in cars getting coffee, where it's...
I still have not seen that.
It's Jerry Seinfeld with Eddie Murphy. And I didn't realize that, but the one with Eddie Murphy is like 2 or 3 times longer than like almost everybody else's. His is long. Jimmy Fallon's is a double episode. There's a lot of them that probably deserve it, but the Eddie Murphy one, he's just so funny. And he was telling them about the time that he had dinner with Sammy Davis Jr. And when he says it in an act, you just think he's making it up. When he's just telling you real stories a lot of these times, right? And it was just like, I guess Sammy Davis at some point in his life, according to Eddie Murphy, was a Satanist. And so he's like, we're in this diner and it's dimly lit, and he's like, you know, man, Satan's just as powerful as God. And he's like, it's the creepiest thing. I'm having dinner with him, and he's got this word he's talking out of his mouth, and he says he's got this coke mouth, you know, from doing all that coke during the Rat Pack days, and, you know, and it's like, yeah, that's what that is, man. Oh, man, and the Satan, man, he's just as... And he was like, it was surreal. I was like, yeah, that would have to be surreal. That's the guy that sings the Candyman. You know, the Candyman can. Now, I didn't realize that the Candyman was talking about old Beelzebub, old Scratch, you know what I'm saying? He's a groovy cat.
Was he in Oh God, You Devil with George Burns, or was
He might have been. Oh God. Well, there was so many of the Oh God movies, right?
Oh God. There was 2. I think there was at least 3 of them.
George Burns did make it
definitely
past 100, didn't he?
I don't remember.
I think that they had booked his 100th birthday like 15 years in advance or something, and I do think he made it.
That is not the window I intended to use.
Randy, I learned something. These brushes, which I love so much for dry brushing, these makeup brushes, which we have linked in our recommended gear, I'd left them in the water, and I noticed that I shouldn't have, because they can affect the adhesive in the ferrule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I noticed that some of the bristles on this brush in particular was starting to come out. So I'm going to see how it reacts after it's dried. So I was like, ooh, yeah. And then I think all that adhesive was then getting in the water, my mixing cup, and
Oh, that sucks.
so
Lesson learned.
lesson learned. So yeah, I wanted to share my stupidity, so maybe it helps somebody else avoid.
Well, I wouldn't say it
Well,
was
not, I
stupidity.
mean that in the best way possible. Not to beat myself way up. I mean, just trying to. I noticed that, Randy, I've been thinking about this a lot, about how we're just kind of all taught to hide all of the little flaws, right?
Well,
And it's,
yeah.
there's
And
one thing
then-
about, diminishing the negative and accentuating the positive. I get that. But I realized personally that I kind of have this almost clinch reflex, right? Where it's just like, "Ooh, I can't show
Drop
that.
the quarter,
Ooh, oh, you
JB."
can't do that. Yeah. I'm getting ready to make a diamond, mofo. But anyways, I digress. We don't need to go down that path.
That's what I got. So I have a friend who's really uptight, and I just got him a bag of coal for Christmas so that he can make diamonds.
Huh. Yeah, man. That's what you do, man. Just say, hey, why don't you shove up one of these? I ain't talking zirconium either. That's going to be real deal Holyfield. We're talking clarity. We're talking cut. We're talking what are the diamond? There's the clarity. There's the carat, right?
Yeah.
The clarity, the claret, the cut, the carat, the cut, the clarity. I don't know if there's another one.
It seems like there is. I can't think of it right now.
The children that died in the
Is it 3
mines
C's or
getting
4
those.
C's? I think it was 4. Let's see.
All right. Seemed like there was 4 D's, or 4 C's. Joke understood, Randy. Thanks. Thank you, my friend. All right. Let me clean a couple of these brushes. And Randy, I'm going to work on doing some more dry brushing. This is what we were doing.
Color, clarity,
Color.
and
Yeah.
carrot.
Yes, my favorite word, Randy.
Carrot?
Collar. It's collar, cut, and clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Did we talk on mic about the conversation that we were having about the difference between like stick pen and a writing utensil, which is called a ballpoint pen? The pen and pen.
Say that again. I don't think we did.
So remember we were talking about PIN versus PEN.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Did we talk about that actually on
I don't think so.
camera?
We
were kind of talked around it, and it led to a conversation
we looked
afterwards.
It up after the fact.
Yeah, I did mention it. And then I just, since we had talked about it, it did say that the more people with more civilized tongue, unlike myself, do actually pronounce it slightly differently, correct?
Yeah, it is actually supposed to be pronounced slightly differently. It's like just the nasal thing, though. Like it's.
So yeah, because I think it was like kind of
most
like
people probably just say pen.
Yeah, or don't necessarily attribute a difference if they hear one or the other. They hear it contextually.
Yeah, but it's like the way it looks. It seems like you're supposed to say pen versus pen.
So pen.
And so it's very subtle, but it's like a nasal thing.
Yeah.
And the pen, I don't like that. I'd much rather just say pen.
Like.
Yeah, I don't like the.
So yeah, PIN I think was like if you think like if you went in a door, right? So it was like pen in. Whereas PEN was an, like pan. Not in, but not in, but not I'll stop. Not in, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then of course, and this is where if Carrie's listening, she should stop listening. I'm gonna give her 5 seconds. Then all I can think about is there's that song, you have a pen, you have pineapple pen.
Oh yeah, that's bad.
you got a pen, you have pineapple, pineapple, apple pen. And man, that is an earworm that will get stuck. That's why.
Oh yeah, what was your tip for getting rid of earworms?
Carrie had says that, and I've used this, that 2 things. One is that another brick in the wall, Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall, will get rid of any earworm, and it is pretty good at doing so. We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. You know that song, Randy? So that's
just like a stronger earworm.
I don't think so. You don't, and I don't feel like it just helps kind of flush it, and it's a much gentler one to have in there, and it kind of just ushers it out nicely. But another one is if you have a song that you hate, right? What you do is you sing it in chicken voice.
There you go. That's the one I was talking
And
about.
that one, and so it doesn't get, you don't use it for ear. I mean, you can, I guess, if the earworm is particularly gnarly. But yeah, like if you hear a song on the radio and you're like, "Arr," and and that one, it works particularly well. Is if you do a little chicken voice. Yep, that one works really, 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 really good. There's some funny also. There's some funny things on YouTube, Randy, with the chicken voice, where Alanis Morissette, I think she does one of her songs in chicken voice with Jimmy Fallon.
That's awesome.
And Meghan Trainor, and I think somebody else. They all do like
Nice.
do isn't it ironic or something like that? And they all do it.
Is it like her version of My Lovely Lady Lumps?
Oh, that is so wonderful. If you've never seen that, whoever you are, if you know who Alanis Morissette is, and you know the song Lovely Lady Lumps, My Humps, you should see her version of it if you are not familiar with it, because oh my goodness. And you have to wait till the very end when you just hear her kind of have the giggle.
Yeah.
Because she just does it straight up as if it was like straight on emo Alanis, right? Like you can hear the angst of them lady lumps. Yeah, that is lovely. So I have a question, Randy. I wanted to ask though, if I apologize for any untied ends that we'll try to come back to. I think I want this gray a little bit darker. Let me show you on here. I'm going to do some dry brushing here, Randy. But topic-wise, I asked you to write down anti-serendipitous. When you were talking about the laptop, I was thinking about serendipity, right? And I was wondering, does serendipity always have to be good, right? Serendipitous is a set of like circumstances that lead to something, and I always thought it was a set of something like that leads to something good. A set of unique circumstances or happenstance.
Yeah. I've never heard it used negatively.
And so I was wondering, is that by its, and so then what would be, is there a word that is the negative equivalent?
And are you saying that anti is, or you're just...
No, I was just curious.
Okay.
I was wondering because...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, give me a second. I'm working on something else.
I'll computer. Computer, what is the definition of serendipitous or serendipity?
The adjective serendipitous is usually defined as come upon or found by accident, fortuitous. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for serendipitous.
So one of them was come upon by accident. We'll skip that one. The other...
Whoops, sorry.
Oh,
that was serendipitous.
Hey, safety first. Now you know why they make goggles. Fortuitous, right? So fortuitous means good. So...
Oops, sorry. You're welcome.
Serendipity.
Wow.
I put my hand upon my hip when I serendip. We dip. All right.
That's okay.
All righty, Randy. There. We darkened that up a little bit, and then I noticed that when we were doing this with Shay that we needed to do them harder. With a dry brush. So I'm working on doing just the dry brush on all these pieces. So there's a lot to do here. So I'm just going to forge ahead, Randy. I'll mention things as relevant along the way, but that is that. So yeah,
I switched your camera angle so I can throw a pick up if that's okay.
Say that again.
I just switched the camera angle to the corner right because I want to throw some picks up.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I won't mess with anything.
Gonna throw some signs. No. Just picks.
I'm just gonna go ahead. Throw them up. Ducey had
Portrait today.
got me a Raphael paintbrush that I'm looking forward to using. I think Maniac, I'd written it on a list, and I'm pretty sure that this is what he was using at the time, so I wanted to give them a try. My typical favorite brushes are Winsor Newtons, but I'm always open to trying something.
Cousins of Fig Newtons?
Yeah. Man, fresh Fig Newtons are really good.
Mm-hmm.
You forget that. You just think, oh, as a kid, and they used to give us all kinds of stuff. But some of that stuff, when you revisit it as an adult, you're like, oh yeah. Some of this, especially when it's fresh, like, oh man. He got me some of this earth texture, and
oh, it's so earthy of him.
yeah.
Let's see here.
Oh, Randy. It's sealed for your protection.
All right.
I don't care about your protection, so I'm going to open it up. How about my protection? I don't care about yours. So, man, this has got a lot of grit to it. I don't know if you can
Oh, yeah.
see. So this will be fun for like bases and things like that. So just something to mess around with a little bit. I need to get some Vallejo water effects too. I don't have any of those. I've seen BMC use those in some interesting ways where I think he was like making some sheets and breaking them out and adding them to fountains and some things like that. And I have some lesser grade stuff that's just good for a base or something. But
I wonder if there's... I imagine there's got to be a way to... you could just have it on... Sorry, I'm thinking out loud.
Okay. That's what we do here. You're loud. That is totally loud, my friend.
Take something like the water effects or whatever that's designed to be kind of textured and make like waves and stuff like that. I believe that's what the water effects one is for. Can't recall exactly, but something like that. If you, rather than having it put on a set piece, if you could make put it on a background that you can, once it's dry, peel off, and then have that piece that you can put on top of anything, any surface.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet you
could
could
make it
do
more
that.
modular in that way.
Yeah, so doing it more like a mold.
Not necessarily a mold, just painting. Although that might be interesting as well. But that would be like each piece you make would be the same if it was a mold.
Yeah, but a lot of times what they'll do is you'll see them use rock molds. And then you'll put pieces together, and then you join them, and it gives you all kinds of options because you can break them up and do different things with them. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, especially like if they were maybe certain elements like cresting waves, like the whole thing wouldn't be it, but at least that part, you could have some cresting waves that would be, and you could have maybe 2 or 3 of them. And a lot of times, though, I see some of the most effective water effects, large scale, like, if we were going to do like a river or something, is people using things like a clear latex from DIY, Home Depot or something, and a big spoon, and yet just hit it like that, and when you hit it and it causes these ripples, and it gives it amazing water ripple texture.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the easiest thing that I've seen so far that I want to try. And I think you can do that too, just on a smaller scale. I think you can even do that with things like Mod Podge, with some stuff like that. Although Mod Podge draw is so slow, I can't imagine that working. But maybe not. Mod Podge actually dries quicker than the Eileen's crafting glue. That stuff is, I'm noticing, is really slow.
I think you can use like your heat gun or a blow dryer, hair dryer, depending on what you're putting the paint product on. If you're putting on something that's safe for that, then you can use those things to help speed the drying process and give it a ripple effect.
So what we're going to make is a heat gun spoon hybrid. So they already have the spork, right? So this wouldn't be the spork. It would be it's not the heat gun, right? So it's a heat spoon. It's the heat. Ooh, there's something here, Randy. I can feel it. I can feel it calling to us. Nope,
all right, here we go. So this is for Shay. This is a couple pictures of Ernie Reyes Jr. from Teenage Mutant Ninja
Oh
Turtles.
yeah,
who
because
played the
we
Pizza
had
Delivery
some
Boy.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle talk last time.
Yeah. So that was him. That's not. These pictures don't do him justice. I don't feel. But so there's a picture of him during the shooting of the film, which I can't remember if that's the first or second one, back in like 1990. And then the one where he's wearing the green shirt, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shirt. That's from like 2009, I think. So that was for Shay.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Goes up there.
And who did he play? Was that Casey?
No, this is the pizza delivery guy.
Oh, okay.
Casey
I
was
thought the pizza delivery guy was Casey. That's where I was getting
I don't think
confused.
so.
Okay.
No, his name is where'd it go?
When you guys were talking about that in my mind, I thought that I'd made that. I was thinking that Casey was the pizza delivery guy, and so that was on the same. And I gotcha. And so what you were saying is that Casey was in the first one, but he wasn't in the second one.
Where is it? Why? And it looks like, well, there's different iterations as well, but it looks like Casey Jones maybe was the character's name for Casey, and was potentially played by different characters. Because I saw a picture where it looked like Stephen Amell was playing him, was playing Casey, and here it says Elias Koteas in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990.
Gotcha.
Was Casey.
Yep.
And why am I not seeing Mr. Ernie?
Randy, I'm using a bigger brush than when Shay was here. I'm trying to hit some of the larger areas just because there's so much stuff to do here.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I'm going to do is use one of the smaller brushes to kind of get into some of the corners and the crevices. So I'll let you know when I'm up in the corners and the crevices. I will put you on Nook and Cranny alert, my friend.
Thank you for the notice.
You know,
Looks like, okay, so Ernie Reyes Jr. was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, 1991. And Keno, I believe, was his character name. Did you get that?
The pizza delivery guy, his name was Keno or
Yeah.
Keno.
Keno, I think.
Keno, because his mom played
Keno,
Keno.
like, spelled like Keno, like the game Keno.
Yep. You ever played Keno?
I don't think so. Maybe once.
I did a couple times. Yeah, because it's legal here, right? So they'll have Keno machines in like bars.
They
and
had,
stuff
yeah,
like
they had
that.
it in the bar.
Yeah, and so I think maybe 2 or 3 times I've done it in Ohio, then in Vegas. About everywhere you went, it seemed like you could do Keno. Like if you're at a restaurant and stuff, they'd have Keno.
There's a couple pictures of Ernie Reyes Jr. as a little kid in a movie. I'm not sure what.
Who's
the
Ernie
movie
Reyes
is,
Sr.?
though.
Do we know him? Or is he
What?
just...
His father?
Yeah, was he also a performer, or is he just proud to be a junior? Which I'm down with either one. I'm just curious. Sometimes I just assume it's not, and then you're like, oh, like we were doing the other day. I'm talking about the Ocean 11s.
He was born as Ernest E. Reyes, apparently.
He was born a coal miner's daughter.
Yeah, son of Ernie Reyes Sr. They starred together in Surf Ninjas, 1993.
Can you give me a little photo? Is it a possibility? Or is this going to be theater of mind? You're going to describe them to me and I'm going to make a character sketch. That could be fun.
Well, I don't think that's a picture of him, actually.
See it hitting this really heavy with this paint.
No, they don't offer any videos for Ernie Reyes Sr. I mean, any photos for Ernie Reyes Sr. in IMDb. Okay. Did you do at the beginning? Did you do your subscribe and like and whatnots?
I didn't do. I don't think the subscribe and that of all the things that we talked about, Randy. We do. Yeah. If you're watching this, please immediately stop what you're doing because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to. If you do not hit that button, that's just kidding. You do what you want. You're your own person. But we would consider it a kindness if you would hit the like button, which is the thumb. But honestly, you can hit the dislike button. That's cool too. It's the one right next to it. They can smash either one of those, Randy. As far as the YouTube algorithm cares, that's all positive. So dislike me as much as you want.
That's weird. What's the point of the dislike button if it's
just so people can tell me that they don't like me and they want my feelings to be hurt. That's what it does, and it's very effective at that. Yeah,
but it's like you want it to be like, okay, like don't recommend this stuff. I'm hoping it still at least does that. Like,
I just
don't
love it.
I think
that there's I think there's a certain satisfaction in being the first person to dislike something, and if nobody's disliked it, man, I think the urge to hit that dislike button for some people has to be so overwhelming. I can't do it.
It's why some people make like negative viral videos just to get the hits and stuff. They make comments and stuff and use clickbait and stuff just to get negative, just to get dislikes because it still is good for them.
Negative engagement is engagement.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as bad press. Yeah. So there's the like, the share, the subscribes. The share part, that's where we ask is to tell all the peoples you know, including your mothers, your brothers, and or secret lover or lovers. And then the subscribe button lets you get notifications. So that tells you, hey, we're really interested in knowing more about what these guys are doing. And if you hit that, Randy, the subscribe button, they get access to the bell icon, and that's the one where they get the notifications. Comes from that. So that's the one, especially if you want to check us out live. Or even if you want to check us out post-wise, because YouTube can be really fickle about who it puts up on your homepage.
Yeah,
so
what do they need to do though?
Oh yeah, there's the like, there's the share, and there's the subscribe.
Well, what happens when you hit the subscribe?
They get access to another icon. It's a bell. Oh, that one. Yeah, that one. Sorry. I was just really trying to see how long I could make that one last. But yeah, and Randy, we say lots of things. Most of them are meant to be true. Not all of them are.
So there's a picture of sorry.
But no, the bell icon, hold on. The bell icon that signifies to the submarine captain that we take to get down here, because this is Studio Johnny Q is located in a sea lab deep beneath the sea, and so we have to take a submarine ride to get here, and that bell is what we use to call him. So we think it's hilarious when you do that and he has to come down here, and it's like, no, wait, the show's not over, buddy. It's the name of the sub, Randy, I know that you were getting ready to ask this. That is the USS Herkimer.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you ever noticed that on the side when you were getting in, because you're always kind of rush, and I know you don't like taking sub rides, but yeah, and his name is the captain. I don't know if have you ever met the captain? He's a lot of times he sits up front.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm not listening too much about it.
His name, if you ever get the chance, his name is Captain Crustacean.
Is he a crusty old guy?
I think he's lovely, personally. But some people
first impressions.
I hear people call him crusty all the time. I personally don't see it.
Know him.
I don't see it. I think he's. But it's been my experience, Randy, that people are not a poster. They're more like a gemstone.
I thought you were going to say a gem sock.
A gem sock. Well, you win. You win. People. It's been my experience, Randy, that people are kind of like gym socks. They're by themselves, they're almost always useless. God, do they smell? you almost always regret touching one. Do you have any other things that you want to add? This is your metaphor that I'm jumping all over. I'm in love with it so much.
So here's a picture of, well, it just switched. Ernie Reyes Jr. and Sr. together. I guess Ernie Reyes Jr.
Randy, one of those is a
Yeah,
turtle.
that's not, no. I said it
That
switched. It switched, I said.
Randy, that was so brown chicken, brown turtle. Brown chicken, brown
There you
turtle.
go, right there.
Oh,
So his father taught him
Wow.
martial arts, I guess.
damn. They went to the Wrath of Khan school of pectoral workouts.
All right, and then let's see. I want to get this. There's a cute picture of him from the movie.
Can you give me a little Wrath of Khan pectoral?
Hold on, let me take off my shirt.
They were. That's right. This is the peck.
There you go.
This is the peck portion.
There you go.
Oh.
You like it?
Damn, it must be cold in here, Randy.
Cut glass with those.
That's right. Hold on, let me get a diamond. Nobody wants the brown diamonds, Randy. We're having a hard time marketing those. Having a hard time. But you know what? Gwyneth is if she's teaching us anything, it's that it's a whole new world out there. Oh, the Randy, it just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't all add up. Oh, this is delightful. Okay, so we have here. All right, I think if you could, I think we're good with Ernie and Bert.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the.
All right, and I'm still leaving these and these parts to do separately with a slightly different blend. All right, these are good for their initial. I think that's a good for an initial.
Here we go. Oh, there's one from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with Splinter in it.
This is one. One of these.
Can you see this one?
And hold on one second. And these were some pieces, Randy, I did off camera.
Oh.
As well. Go ahead. You can show me that, Randy.
Yeah, well, if the window will cooperate, I will.
How young was he there?
I don't know. Let's find out. Hold on, let me get the picture I wanted to of him as a child. Let's see.
And I will note that Shay, who is of Asian descent, said that she found it hard to tell the age of Asian people. So that's not just my backwater talk coming out.
Wikipedia.
I have an Asian friend, Randy, so I can say things like this. All right.
By the way, the M50 needs.
Yeah, I'm only going to mess with it if we're doing a close up.
Yeah. Okay.
And you were working on those other things. Alrighty. This one's going to be so full of nooks and crannies.
Damn it.
Maybe I'll do this one last, because I'll switch brushes on this piece in particular. All right. Put this aside. First. Randy, I'm going to sneak and have a piece of croissant. This looks too damn good not to have. I'm so hungry.
Red Sonja. Is that part of the Conan? Is he Conan within Red Sonja? Or is that a separate?
I know.
I'm thinking it's not the same, but I can't remember. Because part of me wants to say that Red Sonja is a character from Conan, but
she is.
This is a separate movie called Red Sonja in 1985.
Right, and I think it was the same actress, but I don't necessarily think she was in it. kind of like it was like a spinoff. I think who played Red Sonja? Was it Tanya Roberts, right? No, because I think Tanya Roberts was in Beastmaster. Computer, who played Red Sonja?
Bridget Nielsen.
Here's Black Caesar / Red Sonja by the Ladies on Amazon Music.
God.
Computer, stop. For the love of
For the
all
love
that is
of God.
unholy.
Oh.
Computer, stop. Thank you. All right.
Bridget Nielsen.
Bridget Nielsen.
Is
Who
Red
was?
Sonja.
Bridget Nielsen, who was married to Sly Stallone. Bridget Nielsen?
Arnold Schwarzenegger played Calidor in Red Sonja.
There's a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Randy, and it's based very loosely on Greek mythology, where Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Hercules, I believe. And I think it's called Hercules in New York. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is not listed as Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's listed as Arnold Strongman in the credits, and his voice is overdubbed.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bridget Nielsen also acted in Rocky IV in 1985 with her future husband Sylvester Stallone.
Yep, that's what I thought. Okay, I know who you're talking about. She was I think she played Ivan, the Russian guy's girlfriend, as I recall, in Rocky IV. I will break you. You're welcome. They don't even no extra charges for such wonderful voice talent work. And it's just the sort of value that you get. And we're all about value adding services here, because this is all about addition through distraction, Randy, right? So you gotta figure out, where is this addition, where is this value that I'm supposed to be getting. It's in moments just like that.
Oh wow, they're remaking Conan the Barbarian 2000. Wait,
They already made.
They already did.
They already did. Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
The
Or did I?
actor.
So Conan the Barbarian trailer 2011 official. That's
The guy.
Aquaman.
Aquaman. Yeah. Who was the Carl Drogon or whatever in Game of Thrones.
I'm not thinking of his name right now, but there you go.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I follow. I see pictures of him on the interwebs quite often, and
Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Of what?
The new Conan.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we can call it new, because it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah. 9. Yeah.
But yes, I had seen the newer Conan, and
well, I mean, new in comparison to
it certainly. No, I know. I'm just.
Dick.
I love you, dude. I love you so much. Yeah, no, don't let me. I was just trying to make a comment about how time flies, not about your lack of knowing where a movie that doesn't even require you to know it existed, whether or not you accurately can depict where it exists in the timeline of events. If I know what I mean, then I've tried to cite that you are lower. It is funny, nerd culture. Nerds love telling you something you don't know. I mean, isn't that not your experience?
Depends on the nerd.
That's true. That is a fair.
That can be said of anybody.
Yeah,
just depending on the person.
Sometimes when I go to, I've gone to just barely, right, just to a couple conventions, like gaming conventions, and it has occurred to me that all nerds are not created equal.
Nerds are people too.
Right, right, and that's the thing. Nerds are people too, but the problem is, Randy, nerds are people too.
Look at this picture of Arnold
Nerd
Schwarzenegger.
is as nerd does.
In Red Sonja, 1985. Look at him.
Oh wow!
right?
Man.
Looks so different.
Yeah.
I don't know how old he was there.
Looks dashing.
Young.
I don't never thought of him as like dashing, but he looks dashing there. His face looks so different.
Yeah. So, I'll try to put that up too. Last time I got in the.
I don't know if I've ever regarded anybody as dashing, to be quite honest. I don't think I've ever said.
Well, me.
I don't know that I've ever proclaimed you dashing. I regard you as dashing, but I have proclaimed you, I guess.
Let's see.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to get all the corners there. So, okay, that's good there.
So this is saying that I assume Conan was his actual name in Conan, and that wasn't like a title or something.
Yeah,
so,
I'm actually, as I say, I'm listening to him, and it's
apparently.
Conan the Cimmerian, not the Silmarillion. Although I think that we need to make that mashup.
With.
Can we do Conan the Silmarillion? Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking about that one. But yeah, and I can't remember what his name is. If he has a computer, does Conan have a last name? No, he is like Moses
I'm not
and
sure.
Cher.
What's the whatever? I don't want to say nationality is not the word I'm looking for. Whatever their people were.
No, yeah, Cimmerian. He was a Cimmerian, I think.
Oh, okay. So what's the Cimmerian word for sword maker? Because wasn't that what his father was? So that's probably what his last name would be if he had one.
Yeah. Computer. Did Conan have a last name? And yes, it was Barbarian.
I'm not sure.
Computer. Was Conan's last name Barbarian? I have barbarian friends.
I'm
I can
not
say
sure.
this. Computer. Did Conan the Barbarian have a last name?
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Oh, shut up.
I'm going to say probably not, because if you did, I think she'd be over it. Computer, are you getting tired of answering our questions? Well done, computer. Well played. Well played, State Farm.
Oh, so Conan's last name is O'Brien.
Yes.
I couldn't keep a straight face for that one.
Thank you. Thank you. You're right. Duh. Now who feels that stupid and not tied to current events? There was a cartoon, Randy, you may recall this. I think in the 80s it was called Thundar the Barbarian.
What?
Thundar? And he had a weird Wookiee sidekick, I think.
As in Thundercats?
No, Thundar as in not
That's where they're
E-R-A-R.
Thundar. Oh, you know what? This must be... Okay. Is this what He-Man was based on?
It would have been, I think, before that.
Looks like the guy looks
it looked
like
like, I think this was
except
around.
He has a lightsaber.
This would have been, yeah. He had like a lightsaber, yeah, because it was like Conan the Barbarian and meets Star Wars.
This must be.
This would have been around the same time as the D&D cartoon was out. I think.
Okay.
I would say that would have been about similar, same time.
Is there one that has like Isis or something? Is that Thunder?
There was we talked.
There's a sorceress that has.
That was a live action one, I think. That was a spin-off of Shazam. When I was a kid, there was a TV show Shazam, and I know they made a movie out about it, which I hear was good actually.
Oh no, that's not what I'm thinking of. It must be Thundar because I have this memory of watching this show, a cartoon.
Are you thinking about She-Ra?
No, it was pre He-Man and She-Ra. It was
okay.
like, you had 3 channels and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it was the only thing on like it at the time. I think
But sometimes there was like shows that you would only
seeing it
catch weird, right? Like it'd only be on at like 6 a.m. and you'd catch it like if you were up early because your parents were taking you somewhere. But anyways,
I wonder if it's that. I only have like 2 or 3 quick pictures of it in my head. That's
Of,
all.
Yeah.
So I'm
Of the
like,
show that you're talking about?
yeah,
Yeah. All right, give me some more.
that's all I got, really.
So you got it's a female character?
The only way I will ever know is if I see a picture that matches what's in my head. That's it.
Yeah, I just want to know.
And
Can you
it's
tell
not
me
even
more?
a-
Because I don't even have enough to even.
It's just, I know there were like, I have an impression of like 3 or 4 characters, and I want to say that one of them is kind of like an Isis in that it had like, you know, it was a sorceress who had like wings, or whether they were real wings or not. I want to say they were like a cape. Like I would think of like an Isis superhero would have a cape that wears wings or something. And that one of the creatures was animal-like, like in Thundar. There's that, like, I don't know what that's supposed to be, but a giant cat.
Yeah, like I said, it's like almost like a lizard Wookiee or something. I think, as I haven't probably seen a picture of it, and I'd forgotten the lightsaber but when you mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah. And I remember it seemed like they rode like they were always mounted, like they rode, or maybe that's where it's like some of the lizard. Maybe they rode lizard horses, like the horses had like lizard tails or something. But anyways, and so okay, so
I imagine that the thing I'm seeing in my head is just like the title sequence, you know, like in the end pose of the title sequence of the cartoon. Mm-hmm. So just like them on a rock in the middle of a sea or something, in a hero pose, like a tableau. That's all I've got. I know I saw this show, but nobody knew what I was talking about, and I couldn't remember anything else about it. I was very young. Anyway, I'm thinking it's probably that.
You're thinking it's probably
Thundar.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know what else it would be.
Well, there's
Although that's 1980. Well, this image is 1980 Thundar Barbarian promotional image. October 1980 to October 1981 on ABC, 2 seasons, and was rerun on NBC in 1983. There you go.
Thundar?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then what time was the AD&D cartoon? Although it might not have been advanced. I guess it was just probably Dungeons. And the Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons, the cartoon.
There it is.
Cartoon. TV series. The snippet had much more. Whoa, they got a lot of information on this.
Oh, also, I was looking at your D&D chart, that really cool page that had the episodes.
The Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And there was something I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that makes sense as soon as you think about it, right? The old classic episodes were only half hour or 20 some minutes long, right? So they have to convert. When they gave you the number of episodes, there was an asterisk that said that they had to do conversions for that. You know what I mean? To give equivalency. So when they did episodes, they did modern day equivalency, and I think they were trying to take in credits and commercial time and their equation. But there again, you know, it's something that runs that long. You know, you have a
Dungeons and Dragons.
A wide way in which it was viewed.
Oh, you're getting Instagram mentions, it looks like.
Oh.
Or comments, anyway.
Well, that's nice. It's probably somebody responding back to.
Okay, so Dungeons and Dragons, 3 seasons, 27 episodes. Original release September 17th, 1983.
Okay.
Through December 7th, 1985.
Okay. So they was kind of the bridged, right? When Thundar ended was when the other one kind of picked up, is what you were saying?
It's 2 years after. So
didn't you say that
Thundar ended in 81? Then it was rerun.
And then it was
rerun on NBC in 83.
Okay.
So yeah.
And then that's when you said that 83 to 85 was the D&D cartoon.
Where'd it go? Yep, 83 to 85.
There was one of these where you're like, did I remember this thing or not? But there was a cartoon that was really similar to Voltron, and that it had a cast of like 5 people, and they're pilots, and I don't know that they formed a super thing, but they all had wings. I think so. I think they could fly in space. And
we'll have to come back to that. I'm trying to like get caught up here.
Yeah,
I can't follow what you're saying right now. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
So just still working on heavy dry brushing here. Getting close to got everything, at least this first heavy, almost base coat slash.
They have some cool figurines from D&D, the cartoon.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's funny. I haven't
Master.
seen anything of those. I had seen some that some people had made a long time ago, and actually, there was a Kickstarter I saw where they were making them, and I've seen where they were making them as like adult figures. Like,
oh my!
And they were pretty cool. Not like
Oh.
not like that at all.
Why
You got
is
excited because you're like,
There you go.
well, how did they depict the unicorn on that one? Was he horny? You know what I'm saying?
Can you see this?
Oh, those are cool.
Oh man, okay, he looks good. Can't remember his name. He looks horrible.
The Cavalier. Well, we have to.
I mean,
Why, Randy?
He's all like shriveled and
why?
He's like that's not what he looked like in the cartoon.
Why?
This is really good. That's what he looked like in the cartoon. That's what he looked like in the cartoon.
Keep going. Let's get to it.
This is not what he looked like.
You know why?
Why is that?
Well, let's see.
Because he's a redhead.
If he has a soul, or does he not have a soul?
So what? They couldn't depict him in 3D
I'm telling you,
physical
man,
form
it's that
because
ginger hate. It's that ginger hate. They hate. They do not appreciate. They taint us because they hate us.
Okay, I want this picture.
All right.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to like print some of these pictures out and hang them on my wall. Like these are some strong memories from Dungeons and Dragons. Some of the shots they've got here.
Oh, cool.
Like,
yeah, I got me a T-shirt from the cartoon. I keep meaning to watch it all. This is one I want to pick up. Okay, we got that. Those are all the time.
D&D.
Whoops, where are these? Alright, Randy. Randy, let me know when you are able to do cognitive processing.
Mm-hmm.
So this piece here is, I've got some big chunks that I can hit with the brush, but then a lot of these are going to be a lot of corner pieces. So this is probably where I think this will be the last piece that I need to do with the blue, the brown pattern coverage. So then we'll transition from using the big brush to using a smaller brush, probably something like this. All right, well, let's have at it. And I'm finding I don't need to take much paint off of this, especially because I'm doing such a heavy base coat slash dry brush. And there's plenty of texture on here. And I'm not super familiar with using this Liquitex paint. It's a step up from using craft paint, so I just wanted to kind of give it a try. And this was something that had a lot of painting to be done, so a lot of opportunity to learn. And you can see even when we put this on pretty heavy, you can still see the pattern underneath of the blues and the browns. And we'll want to cover that up more than what's being revealed here, but I'm going to be using a wash, probably a homemade wash. inks and an acrylic medium. Probably just a floor wax, an acrylic floor wax. That's often what we'll use. Kind of easy acrylic medium that doesn't have any pigment in it to thin things out.
So the like Catman character, whatever he is, on Thundar,
Yeah.
was Ukla the Moke, according to this picture.
Okay.
Wow. Thundar looks. I mean, looks like He-Man was taken directly from that.
Yeah, he had the Page Boy haircut, right?
Yeah, Page Boy, Prince Valiant. I think that's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. I bet you Prince Valiant probably has a different feeling about that. But
what?
Prince Valiant probably felt differently about that. There's not the same haircut at all.
Wow, so much of this is like, I think people probably just blend these together with He-Man.
Everything, yeah.
They just assume, like, maybe they have memories of this, but they just assume it was He-Man.
Could be. Yeah, was this a weird show? And it felt like you don't understand kids, but you're trying to make stuff for them. You don't understand children, but you have the resources to make stuff, so this is what we're getting. It's like, wow, you want Conan with He-Man with Star Wars. Yeah, all right.
Not sure the size or quality of these photos, but this is what we're getting.
Thundar the Barbarian.
Wow.
They say that
I definitely have seen those. Like, this image is like, yep, I've seen that.
Yeah.
That rings a bell.
On one of my birthdays, my mom gave me a book that I used to read as a child that I had totally forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
And then, man, that was freaky. It was like watching, like forgetting an episode of of Sesame Street, and like you sat down and watched it, and you never could. You like in the last 40 years, you don't remember any of this, but then you see it and you remember every piece of it.
Uh-huh. You're
like, man, this is weird. How is this trapped in my head? It was really bizarre. It was a really odd experience.
All right, and I was trying to get an image of him as a kid. All right, let me try to get these ones that I have up here showing. I don't know why you have to go in and refresh this thing every time you want to.
The picture frame size thing?
Yeah. Well, you have to refresh it to get the images to show. All right.
Yeah.
Oop. And the size as well.
You know, you can...
There you go. All right, so there's one picture of...
You know, we can probably share an app like the media browser, Randy. Maybe that's a way that we get around this, but I'll think about that some more and look into that. Maybe that's how we, because we need the picture to size to our viewing window, not the viewing window size to the picture. Correct. That's the problem that we're having.
Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Randy, while I'm doing this, I'm being really mindful of the T-zone. I find that styrofoam has a very oily T-zone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One taint the other.
And also, whenever you get a chance to accentuate the cheekbones, that's always good. And I do that in large swirling motions.
Okay. So there's a picture of Conan. It's not Conan. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger in Red Sonja. Which, do you remember what I said his character name was in that?
Yeah, it was Dingus the Mingus.
This is Lord Calidor.
Yeah, okay. Thundar. Yeah, and he's got a lady. Yeah, okay.
It's
yeah.
a sword, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Interesting. Interesting.
Do you want to do a mental health minute while I'm...
Yeah, sure.
Fine.
I do want to do a mental health minute. I've been thinking a lot about this concept, and we've keep mentioning it on the show, that I'd heard from Jim Carrey. And it's about when you come into a situation, you either meet it with fear or you meet it with love. And I've been thinking about that idea more and more. And I'm starting to wonder what, as I think about this, it makes me think about what is the opposite of love. And I think I always thought it was hate, just intrinsically. You know, that's just the duality, love and hate. You know, one fits one on one hand, one fits on the other really nicely. You got a good balance. I was talking about prison tattoos, Randy. I don't know if you caught that. But I don't know that it is. I don't know that hate is the opposite of love, and that maybe anger is more, or maybe it's fear, was what I started to think as I started to think more about this. That and then
I would think it would depend on the specifics of what you're talking about, because I think there's different types and different,
like there can be different types of love.
Yeah,
right. That's a very solid point. Yeah, that is an interesting, like in the Bible, the word love actually comes from, I think, 4 different Greek words in the New Testament. There's 4 different Greek words.
That is a good point too. There's so many other languages that have so many more specific words for different levels of things, that, like how many words there are for love or whatever in French as opposed to as in English, especially American English.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think the cliche is that Eskimos have like 80 words for snow, which I don't think. I think they've got one. It's called snow.
No,
but
they do. They actually have. There are many different types of snow that are very specific.
Right, like
for
we have like sleet and slush and
there's
drizzle
like
and
a particular density and texture that they use for a certain type of shelter, and yeah. Let's see.
But as you know, in thinking about this in context of the mental health minute, and not just that,
Prince Tarn.
I feel like the enemy that we're battling, Randy, is anger. But that was my initial thoughts. Was that the enemy that we're battling on a day-to-day basis, I feel like, as we try to be good people, is that we're battling anger. But I think if I dig deeper, then I think that anger is just a result of fear. And I think that fear is just the insecurity that I believe, is the motor that drives everybody's personalities to begin with. So I was wondering kind of what your thoughts were on that. I can repeat any of that if
yes,
need be.
Please do.
Just that I would like to be a better person than the person I currently am today. And I think that you are likewise. I think that you try to be a better person.
Yeah.
You try to grow. I've seen you in the last several years take yourself deliberately out of your comfort zone in an effort to do just that. And I think that as I want to be a better person, I want to learn how to be able to perceive things more truly and be less engaged emotionally. You know, not be so quick to get angry with people. You know, and I feel like for me, it feels like that's the battle that I'm waging as a good person, trying to be a good person, is I'm battling against anger more often than not. And then it's like, and I was just thinking about it in context of that Jim Carrey, you know, statement about meeting things with love or meeting, you know, things with fear. And I think I think those things are tied together. And as I initially, you know, have been talking about this, I've been thinking about it more internally and less externally about other people, you know, about how I deal with other humans, I guess, maybe. You following what I'm trying to lay down here?
I'm afraid I'm not following it well. I apologize.
No, that's probably equally my fault. Just that I'll try to approach it from a different way.
It sounds like something that requires my full attention, and I'm still trying to work on all this stuff.
All right. Well, I'll just talk to the people then. I don't need your yay and your nays. I'll talk to the good folks at home. For anybody that's scoring at home, that I think that there's just so much anger out in the world, and that we're so quick that when we're all in this angry state, it's quick for us to just reactively bark at each other. And I feel like that's, you know, one of the secrets is being able to take those moments where our natural inclination is to bark back, because our default settings are anger so often.
Okay. I'm not
talking
sure
to you, Randy. I'm talking to the people at home. So if you could wait this.
I stitched together something. I'm not sure if it's totally in line with what you're saying, but I think so.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, I agree in many ways with that. And I think that's part of the big thing. Like, it all ties together with the same kind of stuff about learning to step back and view yourself and how you react to things, and pay attention to that and learn what triggers you in that way, and the reasonings for that, how you think that developed, and trying to get better about not reacting in a quick primal anger, fight or flight response to everything. Realize that, you know, people probably didn't mean in the way that you think they meant it, or, you know, there's many things about why you may be feeling that way, when in fact that might not actually be what's happening.
Right.
And your readiness to jump to an assumption that you're being attacked in a way that may not even be real at all.
Yeah.
And a lot of that just has to do with a primal, you know, fight or flight response, I think. If you feel like you're being attacked, like, it may just be that you were wrong about something, or you got embarrassed, but it triggers the same chemicals in your body to feel like you're being attacked,
like you're in physical danger,
and like you've got to fight. So and it's hard to, once that gets triggered, it can be hard to like stop and realize and dial that back, because it can be this kind of runaway reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to learn how to realize that that's happening, and kind of analyze it within yourself and figure out what the triggers are and whatever, and how to deal with it in a better way.
Yeah, because I think there's a couple things there, right? There's one is that, you know, you feel this way, and you ought not be lashing out like that.
Yeah.
And then there's another piece is that you ought to also work on why you feel that way in the first place. Yeah. And that's kind of the other piece that I'm getting at, I think.
And that's my big thing too. Anyway, is like, don't treat the symptoms.
Right.
That's like, people's like, oh, I'm going to not be an alcoholic anymore because I'm going to stop drinking. Well, that's not like
alcohol wasn't the problem.
The problem.
It was just
why were you drinking in the first place?
The outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's go back to the original. Oh well, I'm drinking because I'm sad. Well, again, that's a symptom, not a root cause. Why are you sad? You know.
I'm thirsty.
So you have to go back and examine the root causes of things.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, is that all of us, we have this base setting of insecurity, right? I mean, insecurity is just such a integral part of
Unless you're a narcissist or a psychopath.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And in which case we would consider you to be at best a statistical outlier for the purposes of this conversation. And we could consider that you're a monster, potentially. What humans would consider a monster.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff about that kind of thing, like what makes a human a monster, and largely there's a sociological aspect to that, as to, you know, if we're just talking like we're animals, right? So
yeah.
If we were talking about ourselves from an animalistic standpoint,
yeah,
then that person's not a monster. He's actually a really good predator in that sense, or what? Like he's a good beast. He's a good animal. He's doing what he's supposed to do. But when you add in the human conscious, self-aware, social community aspect to that, then that's not going to work.
Perry Farrell had a song.
It's a bad thing. He's a beast. A problem.
Perry Farrell had a song that said we'd make good pets.
A what now?
Perry Farrell had a song that said we'd make good pets. If the aliens came and saw us, that's what they would say. Yeah. We make good pets. That was, he had a group after Jane's Addiction called Porno for Pyros.
Huh.
Porno for Pyros. But
yeah. That's just explosions and stuff? It was like, oh yeah.
It is funny, right? I think this is kind of like what you were alluding to. That where, you know, like, I do it when we're saying, you know, animals aren't sentient creatures. Well, then are you talking about humans? Because humans are animals, right?
Yeah.
So where we are and are not animals is a very, where we regard ourselves as animals, where we don't regard ourselves as animals, is interesting, to say the least. Yeah, so I guess, you know, this will be a topic we'll continue to revisit. But yeah, so today was just about anger. That, you know, I think that, you know, anger can be seen kind of as the enemy of good people, and I believe that most of that anger comes from fear, if not all. And, you know, thinking about that maybe helps us to be able to deal with people. My mom used to say that, she probably still does. She had often told me that sometimes people need the most love when they're being the most unlovely, and that's an interesting thought. And if it's something that you're interested in pursuing further, I think that's maybe a good mental exercise to help you be able to treat people when they're being most unlovely, to be able to treat them a little lovelier. So I think that was kind of, in essence, what I was trying to get at, Randy, in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's good.
Are you able to process more words, Randy?
Hold on. Trying to solve this question you asked about Ernie Reyes Jr., how old he was when he was in Teenage Mutant Turtles. It looks like he was probably about 19 or 20.
Okay.
So I'm getting some conflicting
Gotcha.
info here.
Sometimes they lie about their ages too, right?
Yeah. But also, unfortunately, it looks like, let's see, in 93, he suffered life-threatening kidney failure. 43-year-old actor recently in an intensive care unit fighting for his life. Huh. That's unfortunate.
Is that him now?
It was 1993.
Is he alive?
That's what I'm looking at.
Is there... In Wikipedia, does it have 2 dates or just one?
I'm not seeing a death. No, it looks like he's still alive, according to Wikipedia. Well,
according to Splinter.
I hope he's doing better. I hope he's doing well.
All right. This piece is weird and awkward.
Oh, I was trying to get a shot of Red Sonja from the cover.
Oh, it's funny you mentioned Red Sonja. One of my favorite artists, writers of comic books from back in the day was John Byrne. And I saw on Instagram, I'm following, I think it's called Savage Tales of Conan. It's an Instagram handle. And they post all this really cool artwork of like old Conan covers, Savage Tales of Conan covers and things like that. Old Conan book covers and things like that. And it had a John Byrne ink illustration of Red Sonja, and I didn't know that he had ever done any Red Sonja. And it was a pretty simple sketch, but very effective. Let's see, he's for real, that John Byrne. All right, we got that. Let me switch to a different brush.
What? Rose McGowan is Red Sonja 2009. Is this a real thing? A movie?
That would be odd. How much? Huh?
I do not. She was on Charmed.
No, I know who she is.
I did not like her on Charmed. She was obviously brought in because they brought her in to replace Shannon Doherty. And they I don't know if Shannon Doherty was a bitch to them or something, but they really dicked her over. Like she was she went away on vacation and they were like, "Meh, let's replace her." But yeah, she just was like, she was always sucking on lollipops with her big fat lips, like looked like they had injections. And it was like obvious that it was purposeful. It was ridiculous.
Huh.
I don't know if she's had injections or not. You know, I'm not trying to shame anybody or anything, but it was just blatant and ridiculous.
So you felt that your
That's
criticism was that they were
there.
overly sexualizing the character? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure I was doing some brush cleaning and I phased out for the charm portion of the conversation there for a moment.
What? How dare you?
No, I mean I was listening, but I didn't catch all.
The original Charm, not the new Charm reboot. I tried to watch the first episode of that and got about maybe halfway in. Was like, yeah, not so much. My mom actually tried to stick it through and watch the whole thing. She also was like, okay, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, that happens. That happens. I support giving up on shows. Life is short. All right. Let's where did I go from? Oh, you know what?
Okay, I want this one.
We need to add some more black. I forgot. I thought I was gonna go for the white highlights, but I'm not. I'm actually going to use a smaller brush on.
That works.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to need some more black paint here. Yeah, we were talking about Thundar, and there was another cartoon that I wanted to mention after that. You told me to put it on the back burner, Randy, so I'm trying to keep it in
What was it? A cartoon? Another cartoon?
Yeah, there was another cartoon,
Arnold.
So I would like to pick that back up when you are able to. Let's see here.
Okay, so let me get this refreshed so that the images will actually show. All right, so we have some images from Red Sonja.
Okay.
So there's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and why is it not changing?
And now these were that movie was after Conan, right?
I forget. I have to look. Oops.
I'm pretty certain that these were spin-offs. And that's funny. I wonder if contractually he wasn't allowed to be Conan, but they were able to have him be a different character. You know what I mean? So then in the advertising, they could have him in there.
I have no idea.
Be interesting though. Okay. So we've got.
What? Slashfilm.com. Red Sonja movie likened to Deadpool and the Dark Knight. What? Okay.
All right.
Huh. So Red Sonja was 1985. 1982, Conan the Barbarian.
Okay.
So yeah.
And then I think probably Conan the Destroyer probably came before Red Sonja as well. When was Conan the Destroyer? That was the second Conan movie.
Oh, let me see if it says within the scene.
So I'm just using a smaller brush, same about kind of paint level. I'm just getting into some of these nooks and crannies that I couldn't get with the bigger brush.
I think I saw an interview or something about Arnold Schwarzenegger once where he was talking about before he came over here when he was like still in Austria or Germany?
Austria, I believe, yeah.
Yeah. And was having like kegger orgies in the woods.
He was in a movie called Pumping Iron. Computer, what year was Pumping Iron?
The movie Pumping Iron was released in 1977.
Yeah, so he was in a movie in 1977, and that was just, I think, talking about him as a weightlifter, because he was I think he was Mr. Universe.
I believe so. One of those anyway.
Computer, what year was Hercules in New York?
The movie Hercules in New York was released in 1970. Did that answer your question?
Maybe. Computer, who starred in Hercules in New York? Computer, who was the actors in Hercules in New York?
Hercules in New York's actors are Arnold Schwarzenegger, Richard Hurd, James Karen, Arnold Stong, and Oliver Clark. To see more, check out the Alexa app.
So, Randy, that's the one. That's saying it was in 70 that he was in the movie. But yeah, he was listed in the credits as Arnold Strongman. And his voice was dubbed, which was hilarious, right?
So, what other Conan movie did you ask about?
Conan the Destroyer.
1984.
Okay, and then
So,
you
yeah.
said, and then Sonya was
Sonya,
85.
yeah, I
So that
believe
was
so.
the last gasp at the cash grab.
Was there only 2 Conans?
Yeah.
I was thinking there was 3. That's probably. I was probably thinking about Red Sonja.
Maybe. Or Beastmaster.
No, not Beastmaster.
Computer, what time is it?
The time is 1:43 p.m.
Wow.
That's so fake, JB. Let's see.
Randy, I don't know if you know this, but the time flows differently under water here in our lab. It's one of the things that we work on. It's one of our experiments that we've been conducting. I have to say, anecdotal evidence is showing that the initial results are strong. We're trending positively. All right. This is working
Okay.
with the
Yeah,
small brush, big
Conan the
brush.
Destroyer was 1984. So.
Yep.
It was Conan the Barbarian. Oh wait, no, what's this? Legend of Conan. What?
What year was that?
Oh, isn't happening. That looks like a game.
Oh, are they doing doing a Conan where he's like old King Conan?
I think I heard something about that, and here's
Which would be actually pretty
this
cool.
says Arnold Schwarzenegger's Legend of Conan isn't happening.
Oh.
That was April 2017. It's just a heading on a video. Trending news, IMDb.
Because as I'm getting,
Here's one that says 2019. Says Arnold Schwarzenegger says he's talking about King Conan with the original director.
Cool.
Okay, so that's a different version of it, I guess. So it sounds like they've been trying to make it for a while, and they just probably haven't come up with a good enough script or something.
good enough script and movie and
everybody
terms and scheduling and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the way that
Features a 70-year-old Conan as a ruler.
Yeah, because actually, in the stories, the original stories of Conan, they jump across his timeline like crazy. And like the first one that I'm reading of the Robert Howard books, the audiobooks I'm listening to, I think it starts with him as a king. And it's kind of and so like the very first story actually talks with him as a king, and that he overthrew somebody, and now people want to overthrow him, and so I think that might be Conan the Silmarillion. That might be that story.
There we go.
But
so get this time to get the I got to pick the show, but it was just showing the one pick. So I had to refresh the folder that the images are in to be able to get to be able to get them to actually play the slideshow. Well, I say that, but it's not playing it yet. Okay. It played it within the preview, which it usually doesn't do.
It's giving you the hi-hat.
There we go. Now, let's see. Forget how many seconds it takes for it to flip. There we go. Oh my god. Whew. I need a raise, JB.
I'm going to double what I'm paying you, Randy. Stats.
Yay.
I can do that. You know what? Let's make that 4 times.
Oops. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. All right. We're done with that. Did I get the... yeah, I did. Okay. So there's a little picture of a little kid in there that's Ernie Reyes Jr. as a kid in Red Sonja.
In Red Sonja. So to bring it back. So we are not just going around in circles.
And then there's a picture of Red Sonja's cast. It's got Red Sonja and Conan, which was, what I say, Lord Calidor, and Ernie Reyes Jr., which was Prince Tarn, and I'm not sure who the other character is.
That seemed like it could be very likely, right? What I proposed, Randy, that they couldn't have him as Conan probably because of contractual rights, and so they wanted him in the movie, so they have him as a totally different character.
Yeah, maybe some of the same people were involved with it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so close.
Was Red Sonja in Conan the Destroyer?
Say what?
Was Red Sonja in Conan the Destroyer?
Oh, that's a good point. What was the...
Because that might have been...
Yeah, what was his companion's name?
Because it was... who was that woman? She was in A View to the Kill. Ursula... Not Ursula. Grace Slick.
It said it was originally intended to be Conan, it looks like.
Okay. Grace Slick was in the first one.
No,
she was great in that.
Okay. Red Sonja. The film features a sword-wielding Marvel Comics character, Red Sonja, created by Roy Thomas, who first appeared in Marvel's Conan the Barbarian series. Oh, that's number 23, 1973. Filmed character of Red Sonja was based on Red Sonja of Rogatino, a character created by Robert E. Howard, appearing in his short story, The Shadow of the Vulture, 1934. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is neat that Conan is so old. And they said that Robert E. Howard kind of created the sword and sorcery genre with Conan. Oh. That was the creation of kind of the sword and sorcery genre.
The film acknowledges that it was based on the character created by Robert E. Howard in the introductory credits. In Howard's stories of Conan, the film takes place in the Hyborian Age, a fictional prehistoric time that had been depicted previously in the films Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer.
All seems accurate and legit.
Oh.
I think we got a little heavier.
In Conan the Barbarian, Sandal, Sandbahl, Sandal, Bergman, played Valeria, a thief and the love of Conan's life.
Yes.
Was offered the role of Red Sonja, but turned it down, choosing instead to play the villainous Queen Gedron
Who
in Red Sonja. So
Okay.
she played the villainous Queen.
How funny.
Gedron. Yeah.
Man, how incestuous, dare I say.
Kind of, because apparently, if you read the... Well, I'm not going to read the description, but there's some interesting... if you think of it from that level, there's some interesting stuff.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Who was that actress?
Which one?
The one that you said played the Queen?
Sandal Bergman?
Sandal Bergman?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was the actress name or the...
Character name?
Yeah, because she kind of reminded me a little bit of like a Tanya Roberts character in Beastman.
Character name was Valeria.
Okay.
Yeah, Valeria.
Cool. All right, I think this piece is done. With that.
Here's a 2011 picture of her.
Okay, yeah.
Here, do this.
I'm sorry to know that is taking at a Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
Where she's really not happy that she's selling these.
Looks like she did a lot of modeling work potentially. Just by an image search here. Okay, so I think I'm caught up enough, or
Okay.
if I missed anything, I can't remember what it was.
So
what's your other cartoon?
The other cartoon was... There was a time period where this is Myth or Mark. This is a Parfy sort of story, Randy, so you can be carefully dubious. But he had actually gotten a concussion when we were kids.
Uh-huh.
He was riding a bike in the rain.
That explains something.
And yeah. And so he actually was in the hospital for a while because of this concussion that he got. And so I had to live with some people for a little while.
Oh, wow.
And so it's really bizarre, right? You know, like for a couple of weeks you're living with, some family friends, and you're like, it's kind of thing. It's like, do I actually remember that? But I can remember watching some cartoons when I was there because they just had a different regiment, right? And so I was watching some cartoons, and there was a show that they had that I saw. There was two of them. One of them was Ultraman. Ultraman. Both of these are Asian shows. Ultraman, it was live action, and this guy could turn into Ultraman. It was like, it would show like, he would do this thing, and it would show like, I'll say Neptune so that I don't say Uranus. So like Neptune, or like a rain planet, and then he grew really super tall, and that I have confirmed that I do believe is a real thing. And there's different iterations of it, but this would have been probably this would have been like 77, 78 maybe. Yeah, because probably I would have been in the second grade. So 76 probably.
Oh, they must have made a newer version of it. I'm getting like modern dates.
Yeah,
here.
and then that's the thing. I know that there are some modern, and I think there's a lot of different iterations. I don't know what its original iteration is, but it's like Spider-Man. I remember Spider-Man cartoon from the 70s, but that's not the origin of Spider-Man, right? And so that was one thing that I remember.
Did they mention Ultraman in?
They mention it in Ready Player One.
Yes.
Yep.
Ready Player One.
Mm-hmm. And I think he actually may be in Ready Player One, the movie. Come to think of it.
There was so much in the book that's not in the movie. The movie is so different from the book.
Yeah. I appreciate both of them.
I want to rewatch the movie.
Yeah. Me too.
I would also like to reread the book.
Yeah. It's narrated by Will Wheaton. It's a good audio listen as well for people who are inclined.
Well, that's another thing. We were talking about audiobooks, and I said that it took me a while to I couldn't do it at first because we were listening to them at work, and I just couldn't concentrate on one or the other. So it takes a while to get used to doing that, and then I still came across some, and it ended up being quite a few where especially The Hobbit, I believe, either that or Lord of the Rings. Just the voice acting.
Oh yeah,
on
the
it
voice
was
acting can
so
make or break. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, certainly.
the tone and color that they gave to the characters, I felt was so
Oh yeah.
out of place, and it was really annoying, really off-putting.
Yeah, that certainly can be. Yeah, that's what's so nice about the Harry Potter books is that guy Jim Dale. He is so good. He is so good. It's like I will listen to other stuff that he's done, just because.
Oh my gosh. Okay, there's like 30 different Ultraman shows.
Okay. Yeah. So like I said, that wasn't the one that wasn't the cartoon, but I have to think about that as one. The cartoon was very much like Voltron. This would have been the same period, Randy. It was very much like Voltron because it had like that same team, right? It's got like the guy, it's got the girl, it's got the nerdy kid, it's got the fat guy, it's got the pipsqueak-y person, kind of thing. And I don't think that they formed up to make like a giant fighting robot, but they had wings, and I think it was called like Phoenix Force or something like that. And I remember that their helmets looked like like they had beaks. Their helmets had like beaks. But they looked very much like Voltron, like kind of like the Voltron uniform. If the Voltron uniform had beaks. That's what I'm recollecting here. I'm wondering if you can help me.
Yeah, I'm trying to find, like, I searched specifically for images from the original and
of
Ultraman.
Oh, I'm not talking about Ultraman now.
Oh, well, I'm still looking for that, and I can't. There's so many different iterations of it.
Yeah, maybe I'll take a look and see if I can find it, because it'll jump out at me.
I mean, this one in particular looks very like it would probably be the original.
Yeah, because that was the thing. This could have been like stuff from the 60s, right? That they were just showing on American TV in the morning. Because American morning TV was like weird, right? Like I'd watch like Gomer Pyle and stuff like that, like early morning before school.
Yeah.
Did you ever get like that, Randy? Like like you get some of those real old kind of like sitcoms and stuff.
I don't remember what time they were on, whether it was pre or before or after going to school, but yeah, I definitely watched a lot of the old.
There was a show called Family Affair. Buffy and Jody and Mr. French, I think.
I don't remember the name. Family Affair.
And I only caught that in the mornings before elementary school. Was the only time I ever saw it. Family Affair.
There's a clip. It looks like it's like 1966. That was well.
I think Jody was the boy in it.
Must have seen.
I think he was a redheaded boy. It's probably why you don't remember him.
There's a little girl in pigtails.
Yep, that was. I think that's Buffy.
But I mean that could just look familiar to me because
she's
reiterated
a kid in the 70s. She probably also looks like
everybody else.
The snotty girl on Little House on the Prairie.
Oh no, it's not Millie. The shopkeeper's daughter. Who? It's definitely not who I'm thinking.
Do this, Randy. This is a treat for you. So do Millie versus Prince.
Probably Prince.
And that's all you'll need. I can't remember what his last name is from Game of Thrones. The snotty blonde boy Prince.
Well, the first thing comes up is Millie Myerson and the Prince of Wales.
No, okay, no. Game of Thrones Prince or King. You can even do King. Millie versus King Joffrey. King Joffrey. So Millie versus Joffrey, which is probably Geoffrey, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Joff. Is Joffrey inbred? Did you watch the show?
Yes. Affirmative.
Oh wow, that's a cool crown. I mean, what are you looking for here?
Just hit the images. Hit images. They look remarkably the same. If you're not finding it instantly, I will come over because I can't believe you would have a hard time.
Yeah, it's not. Let's see. Maybe Millie's different. Let's try it like that.
Is her name Millie? Her name Ellie.
Oh, Ellie, maybe.
Maybe it's Ellie. Ellie versus Ellie.
What is the
Ellie.
name of the show?
Game of Thrones and Little House on the Prairie.
Little House on the Prairie. Cast.
Nellie. Neither one. Not Millie.
No.
Not Ellie. Okay. So Nellie versus Joffrey. And for our younger listeners, The House on the Prairie was a show from the 70s. It was
Wow,
very
that
wholesome.
is... Oh, man. That'll make you feel old. Like, you don't know what Little House on the Prairie is? What?
Oh, I'm certain. Man.
That's crazy.
I mean, because I barely remember it. I mean, I do. I remember it better than, like, say, the Waltons or stuff like that. But only because I saw them in middle school in reruns. All right. Did you look up Nellie versus Joffrey?
Get it in there. Joffrey is Nelly? Is it that one?
Would you? Sure. Yeah, they are separated at birth.
There's a video of that.
Oh, really?
Oh, here I'm looking at the picture.
Oh, well, they know they have these deep fake things they can do now too.
That's wow.
Isn't
That's
that crazy? Yeah, that one where she's got like the bonnet on and yeah, that's nuts. It was like you see that, you're like, yep. And the thing was is that he's such a snitty character, and she was so snitty, you know, on the show. And it's so funny. It's like
there's one of them both like doing their frowny face, and even that looks.
Yeah.
There's one here and here.
What was the search term that you used so people could match just the search term?
Nellie versus Joffrey.
Nellie versus Joffrey. So yeah.
Nellie versus Joffrey.
These pieces here were hard to hit with the larger brushes, so I'm just going to go ahead and give them a once
That
over
is
with a
so
smaller
weird.
brush. Isn't that something? That's that doppelganger sort of thing, right? They say everybody has a doppelganger.
Yeah.
That show, The Outsider, there's a good conversation about doppelgangers.
I was told by several people there was somebody at Columbus State Community College that looked exactly like me.
Randy, I was out at a watering hole one time, and a girl from across the bar gives me that knowing look. You might know what that knowing look is. I'm not really familiar with it.
Which knowing look?
They're like, hey. But it was like, I know you, and like waved. Like, oh, hey, how are you doing? And I thought two things. I thought, that girl is a stripper. And I'm certain that she has me confused with somebody else. And I don't know that I confirmed both of those things. I was able to confirm both of those. She said that she was like, hi. And I said, I'm not who you think I am. And that was what my opening statement was. I'm not who you think I am. And she's like, yeah, I dance at, I don't remember what she said she danced at. I'm not up on my strip clubs.
No, I am not your best tipper. No, I am not going to buy you a drink.
Yeah. He must have been good because, and I've been like at the grocery store, and that's, everybody gets that, right, Randy? I mean, like you said that, was that the college? You said that somebody at the same college as you?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a community college, so it's not like, 80,000 people we're talking about, I'm 6'4", red hair. I'm not exactly, look like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So for when somebody says you have,
but you're a redhead, so you all look alike.
That's what it is. Thank you, Randy. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah. I'm going to
Or
start telling
ginger.
people that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to use
Everybody
the wrong
says
term.
all of us gingers look alike.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's hard to look past the lack of soul. We get it. It's like looking at the sun. It's kind of blazing in its emptiness. The silence is deafening.
I was considering, I've been sitting here considering whether to put the Nelly versus Joffrey, try to choose an image and put it up, but I'm just going to say search it yourself.
Yeah, because you'll get
actually, I'm going to copy the, should I do
the search
so
result
I'll just do the name. I'll just do the name and do that. Yeah. Because then you'll get a much better full effect.
Yeah, you'll get the whole, the mosaic.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that. I think that is sound reasoning. John said he appreciated our mantra of do your own fact finding.
This is my
it's like, thank you. I look at this as kind of like a lunchtime conversation, and back in them days we didn't even have the internet. We just had to guess at stuff. So much easier to tell people bullshit back in the day.
So I just put Nelly versus Joffrey. Google it in the chat.
Google it. Do yourself a favor.
Okay,
if you're familiar with any of those people, do yourself a favor. And they are remarkably similar. Randy, there is something which we need to discuss today.
What's that?
Well, can you do a quick search for Phoenix Force?
Yeah, FYI, it is 207.
Yeah, and I figured I probably should mention the titular. We should have a titular moment, Randy. You know what that is? Do you know what that is? I think you may have did that earlier when you took your shirt off. We may have had a titular moment there. The title of today's show, the working title, was I don't even remember now.
It should be listed here somewhere. Where is it? Hold on, let me finish this. Because
I changed
Ubiquitous Man versus Mr. and it's cut off.
Oh, Mr. Obsequious.
Okay. Which
is funny. Given the definition of it'd be funny if it was ubiquitous. So word friends, we like to play with words, right?
Oh, maybe it's this. And sorry, go ahead.
And I'm gonna need you on this one.
Hold on, I'm trying to do the Phoenix Force thing real quick. It looks more images.
Oh, that's giving you Marvel. No,
that's Phoenix. Right? Yeah. That's why it looked familiar.
Yeah, that'll send you down a rabbit hole. I don't have good enough information for you. I'll work on that.
Okay.
But so we can try to have our titular moment.
You giggled after you said it. Here you go. I got a picture. This is what you're talking about, I think. If it'll cooperate.
Oh, that looks strong, Randy.
Damn it! Pull up the
Battle of the Planets. That's it.
So that is image it. Yep. In new tab, and there. Well, that's awfully small, but there you go. Okay, yeah, that does not look familiar.
But I think I nailed it right. Voltron. Doesn't it have the Voltron crew? Because you got
totally like the size and shape of the people, and like that's why you're.
You got the little pipsqueak, you got the fat guy, you got the leader, you got the female, and then you got somebody who's probably just a snark guy.
1, 2, 3. Do they have an extra guy? They have an extra guy in Voltron, don't they?
Voltron, there's 5, right? No, the chest is the head, right? The chest head. So you have the 4 limbs and then the body head.
Yeah, but the princess isn't always.
Well, you're thinking probably new Voltron too.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the new Voltrons other than like one.
So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there'd be an extra guy.
Why? Oh, because she doesn't. The female doesn't fly. Yeah. I guess.
Yeah. Wait. I don't know. Whatever.
You were saying that the role there is depicted as the female in Battle of the Planets, is what I was trying to say.
I'm just looking at this one picture. I'm gonna save this for you.
Battle of the Planets. That was definitely it, though. But yeah, that was. I mean, I was probably, like I say, I think this has happened.
Oh, that's called G-Force. That's saying it's G-Force.
G-Force. Okay. Because I was thinking Phoenix Force, because I thought that they said something like like G-Force Unite or Phoenix Force Unite or something like that. But so I think they have ships and they can also, I don't know. Man, it was a long time ago. It's funny that you could watch that a handful of times, but I remember the memory got reinforced when I saw Voltron, because I was like, this reminds me of a show from when I was a little kid. I said when I was a little kid.
Let me try popping
Battle of the Planets. Quick. Wow. Yeah, that was it. Battle of the Planets. So yeah, I'm pretty certain that was definitely like a heavy inspiration for Voltron.
Well, it looked like it was going to work, but it's not. Another time it worked. It worked in the preview, but it's not. Oh, you know what? It looks like it's putting it in an odd place, maybe. No. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's tiny.
John pointed out in one of the shows, he was like, the name of the show was this, but you guys never actually talked about this. I'm like, yeah. I think it was the roll box because we had the videos, but we were having problems getting the D&D pictures to show, so we never actually got to it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, originally you were talking about like naming it something generic at first and then renaming it more appropriately after the fact or something.
Yeah. But I think it's kind of funny just that that if you know, this was the direction I thought it might go. So I think that's kind of fun in and of itself.
Okay, so there was something else you were
yep.
going to talk about?
I wanted to have a titular moment.
Yes.
Okay. When you're ready.
Talk about the tits.
When you're ready to get titty? We're going to get titty up in this? Up in this bitty? Titty in the bitty? So, I got those two words mixed up, ubiquitous and obsequious. But I will have to say I was rather proud when I did the show notes, Randy, that I did not get the autocorrect when I typed them. So
nice.
I did not think I would get either one of them correct.
What was it? Ubiquitous and obsequious?
Yeah, obsequious. And ubiquitous.
Yep.
And so I believe that ubiquitous, that's one that I do know. Ubiquitous, are you familiar with those words?
Yes.
Okay. So I believe that ubiquitous, as I'm coming to, and I heard somebody use it the other day, so I was kind of proud because it's been in my vocab list for a while. Ubiquitous means, I think, ever present. Like if you keep running into something, you can say ubiquitous, you know.
Ever present, yes. I think your phrasing may imply something a little, because you're implying a time element to it, and I don't know that that's.
No, I meant like a person is always around. If somebody was always around, you would be ubiquitous.
Like found everywhere is.
Like let's say, you know, cell phones have become ubiquitous in public life.
Yeah.
That would be an accurate way to say ubiquitous. And then obsequious, I'm thinking that I'm taking the root for this to be like obscure, and so I thought obsequious means to almost the opposite in that obscured. Like it's to be obsequious is to be to hide something or to obscure something, but I'm not positive about that one.
Obsequious has a negative connotation to me.
Yeah.
And it makes me think of like obsequious, like a yes man. Like you're going too far, trying to please somebody, or like you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so I'm looking it up, and looks like obsequious is obedient or attentive to an excessive or servile degree. Similar, servile, ingratiating, unctuous, sycophantic, fawning, toading.
Yeah, minion. So how you would consider a minion would be acting.
Yeah. Obsequious.
There's a They Might Be Giant song, and they use that word in the same obsequious manner that something.
Here's one. This is good. The example that they use for that is they were served by obsequious waiters. And then if there's a response that says, what is an obsequious person? Obsequious people are usually not being genuine. They resort to flattery and other fawning ways to stay in the good graces of authority figures. An obsequious person can be called a bootlicker, a brown noser, or a toady.
Nice. Those are great. That is well done. I like all of that.
That is dictionary definition. Vocabulary.com had that one.
That is some good phrasing right there. I'm going to take some of these smaller pieces. Okay, so obsequious means to be a toady. And
ubiquitous is like present everywhere, ever present, everywhere, omnipresent. Yeah.
So I did mention that obsequious. Mm-hmm. That obsequious. One of the few places I ever remember hearing that term is in the They Might Be Giants song, and I'm a very big fan of They Might Be Giants. Mm-hmm. And they had a song on Flood, which actually they're doing. I think they're performing Flood live. It's like the 25th or 30th anniversary of the album. And but if you've ever heard the song from Maniacs, they had it. Istanbul was once Constantinople. Ever heard that one? Mm-hmm. That's from that album.
Oh, okay.
But they have a song, I believe that's on that album, that's Particle Man, which you've probably heard because I think I've had it on the playlist before. Particle Man, fights Triangle Man. They have a fight. Triangle wins. Triangle Man meets somebody band. They have a fight. Somebody wins. You know, it's that song. And so that's what made me think about the taking back this so we can have a titular moment was Obsequious. If we had Obsequious Man and Mr. Ubiquitous, or I think I may have did it the other way around, because there's also a song from another artist, Dead Can Dance, and they have a song called the Ubiquitous Mr. Lovegrove. So that's one of the reasons, one of the ways that I'm familiar with that word. So I was thinking,
Dead Can Dance, is it husband and wife?
They were.
Oh, they're not anymore?
No, I don't think.
She like kind of makes up her own language?
She does. She was born in Australia, but I think it was a Japanese speaking part of Australia. She's English speaking, like, British English. Yeah. He's Irish. And but yeah, and she makes up her own language and just speaks
and it's kind of new agey
rhythmic-y,
tribal,
kind
of tribal, world,
especially that world music kind of had a day in the sun there in the 90s, and yeah.
Actually, let's see how
I think that they're putting out another album. Actually, I saw. They don't tour very often. I would love to see them. Our friend Dwayne, he saw them perform, but he had to go to, I think, to Philly to see that. Let's see here.
I need to fix that.
Yeah, so I was thinking though, if it was the Ubiquitous Mr. Lovegrove, so. But I think I flipped it for that purpose. So it's Ubiquitous Man. So Ubiquitous Man would be everywhere, right?
Hold on one second. Sorry, I want to. Dead Can Dance. So the Dead Can Dance is.
It's Lisa Gerrard and Brendan Fraser. Brendan
Perry.
Brendan
Lisa
Perry.
Gerrard and Brendan Perry.
And she plays a Chinese dulcimer. Amazingly.
He described Dead Can Dance's style as constructed soundscapes of mesmerizing grandeur and solemn beauty. That's beautiful.
I don't disagree with that. I like that.
I believe that.
If you are a fan of them, you will probably think that. African
polyrhythms, Gaelic folk, Gregorian chant, Middle Eastern mantras, and art rock.
Yeah, all of that.
Yep. Genres: neoclassical, dark wave. Okay. World, art rock, avant-garde, gothic rock, and post-punk. I don't know about the gothic rock and post-punk.
I don't consider there being any rock elements to it at all.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I mean, maybe they have some stuff I haven't heard, but I'm sure they do. But
I really like the one. They had one called Spirit Chaser. That one, I think, has more maybe like Native American influences to it.
Album?
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard that one.
That one. Toward the Within is also really good. I think that's the one that has the hand. It's like got like a thing like that.
I'm behind on my Dead Can Dance. I think I have 2, maybe 3 albums that are probably from like when we first started hanging out.
Okay.
And that's my extent of it, I believe. There's those whatever those 2 or 3 albums were.
And those might be them. Those are the ones. There's also Aeon or something like that. The cover is a Hieronymus is a snippet from a Hieronymus Bosch painting.
The album's called Aeon?
I think
Aeon?
so.
Aeon? Aeon?
Aeon, I think. Also have an album I think called The Serpent's Egg, but that one I think is of a. I think the album cover of that one is like of a river that kind of winds. It looks like a snake.
Oh, apparently there's a band called Aeon.
I mean, if you look at the Dead Can Dance albums, then you'll see the one where it's like this old oiled painting with these people in a kind of like a circular membrane, I think.
Oh yeah, it kind of looks like some medieval tapestry and has kind of reminiscent of.
Do you know who Hieronymus Bosch is?
There's an old album that my mom had. The cover of it was something about gods.
Hieronymus Bosch painted depictions of hell. And so if you look at that, whatever that painting is from, let's take a look and see what that painting is from. Because if you look at the whole painting, you'll be like, whoa.
I mean, should I click on this link? It's really just.
So yeah, what was the album name?
I don't know what this. I don't know what that link is to.
Computer. What dead can computer stop?
Here we go. Maybe.
Oh, AION. Okay.
Ah, there you go.
And
Dead Can
then
Dance album. AION.
and then the album cover.
Huh. They're saying neoclassical dark wave here as well. Medieval music. That's I'd say heavily medieval.
More medieval than rock.
Yeah.
Album cover.
Serpent's Egg. That's one that I have.
Okay.
What are you looking for?
The
Precisely.
album
the
is
picture.
cover is based on is a snippet of a Hieronymus Bosch painting. Computer. Which Hieronymus Bosch painting was used for a Dead Can Dance album?
Oh, here. Album cover detailed from this.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
The Garden of Earthly Delights, specifically its Central Earth panel.
Okay, so
It's Central
yeah,
Earth
can you
panel.
pull that up?
It's a triptych.
Yeah.
Hieronymus
Yeah, it
Bosch, The Garden of Earthly Delights, oil on oak panels. Museo del Prado, Madrid.
Yeah. Look at the zoom in on some of that stuff. If you click it again, I think will it zoom or is it going to zoom out? Whoa.
What?
Oh, it's going super big. This is like old school AOL dial-up.
Yeah. Is it, or is it just clickbait that's going to open something stupid? No, it says it's Wikipedia.
JPEG.
It's uploading from Wikipedia. All right. Well, anyway, while that's working, I want to look at this.
Yeah. If you can put...
Wow. Okay.
Huh. May try to do a refresh on her.
Yeah.
It just might be a bad handshake.
Yeah. So, here, we'll just...
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. Oh, I hate it when it does that.
Oh, it's resizing.
Yeah, it automatically resizes it when you're trying to... All right.
So I think this is like Garden of Eden stuff here on the left on this triptych. And then I don't know what...
Well, yeah, I would definitely say, I mean, there's Jesus and a naked man laying down in the...
Well, Jesus, I don't believe was in the
naked
Garden
woman
of
there
Eden,
with lots
generally.
of animals.
But
I know, but
So-
I mean, clearly.
I don't disagree with you. But yeah, I think that's what he's going for here. I don't know what this middle thing, but this is like the good part of life, I guess. And I think this is hell.
I would assume so.
And you look at, there's some crazy, like, look at like some stuff that's going on in there. Like pull up a different image, not this one, not the Wikipedia one, so we can zoom in.
So
on
what
that.
did it say? This is the Earth, Central Earth, the central panel, which is Earth. So
Maybe it's heaven, paradise. This is paradise. This is hell, and this is earth. That makes sense. That would make sense.
Garden of Earthly Delights. Hell panel. Whoa, check this out. Tree Man larger statue by Hieronymus Bosch.
What's that? A
It's
statue?
a statue.
I can only imagine that was some crazy stuff.
What?
I love too how.
Oh, this is some like Dolly-esque stuff.
Yeah.
Or I guess.
Oh yeah,
Dolly
yeah,
was,
his stuff. Yeah, because it was like they're
Hieronymus,
monsters. Like they got a head of a
Bosch-
something that's got a
Bosch-
foot of this. That's eating somebody whose body is like got 4 limbs or.
There's
It's nuts.
stuff. I wonder if what was I watching? I think at the end of Canterbury Tales movie. I think there's a scene where it's like crazy hell scene of like priests being raped by pigs or demons or something like craziness.
Yeah.
And it looks like that type of. So
Yeah.
maybe that's based on.
And if
one of
it's
his
not, then
paintings
it's
or
based
something.
on this because
Yeah.
that's your guy. If you want old classic oil painting of some crazy hell stuff.
Yeah.
And then the other, you also got some good. Albrecht Dürer was another good artist who did some interesting depictions of heaven and hell. I think, but his are more like they're not that trippy dolly stuff.
Sorry, this is not the clearest picture, but look at this.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Well,
There's people inside of him, and like he's sort of like a tree. I'm not sure if those are supposed to be his arms or his legs. It looks like maybe his head's on backwards if those are his legs. There's people inside of him, a whole scene going on inside. He's partly tree, and he's in his feet or hands are in boats.
what's neat though is that the patron of this would have been a church, more than likely. Of that's painting,
Yeah.
right? Some of these really horrible things,
I assume this is
and
supposed
the
to be his
patrons of them
heart.
were often churches.
I think this thing up here is supposed to be a heart. I'm guessing. I don't know. Either that or some alchemical vessel with people.
Yeah, I was like, is it a
around the
body
rosy
organ?
and
I
around
thought
it.
it was like a body organ.
Yeah,
It's disturbing. This stuff is
there's a lot going on there. There's a lot to unpack.
It's meant to be disturbing. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack. Well said.
Yeah, there's a lot of absinthe consumption with a heavy amount of lead in it. going
Yeah,
on
there's
there.
there's some stuff going on there. It is funny how similar it is to Dolly too.
Yeah.
because those guys
I would say Dolly was heavily influenced by this.
by Bosch. Yeah, I would think so, and also by the aforementioned Green Fairy.
Yeah. Carvings.
Absinthe. I'm gonna cast an absentee ballot, Randy. Next election.
On. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was a
Thought you
joke. Absinthe.
Oh, no, I gotcha.
Absinthe.
Sorry, I'm in the middle of this.
Ballot.
I don't know what this is, but this is awesome. It's a wood carving. Loki and his children, Fenrir and Jormungandr? Jormungandr? That's how to pronounce that. Wood carving.
I can't see.
I'm working. Oh,
Yep.
wow. That's a... What? Okay. I don't think they want me to be able to do what I want to do with this picture. Let's try that. Yeah, looks like I'm gonna have to save it to be able to do anything with it. Maybe. Okay, yeah, I don't want your pop-ups. Thanks anyway.
Hey, you know what? I don't really want your pop-ups, but thanks. But the thing with that, here's the thing.
Here you go. Pink. Can you see that well? Oh yeah. Isn't that awesome?
Hold on 1 second.
So okay, so that's the
Oh,
wolf
wow, yeah,
and a
that's-
snake. Is the snake the same thing as the? Isn't it a giant snake or no? It's a dragon, isn't it? That's like somewhere in the deep and circles the earth and is like tail and mouth. I can't think of what it's called right now.
Oh,
He's eating his own tail.
yeah, the serpent in his own tail.
Is that supposed to be the same creature or is this a different creature?
I don't know. It's a good question.
If I could recall the name, it would go a long way to helping me decide that. Ouroboros or something like that? Something like that. Ouroboros.
Actually, I think Ouroboros. I'm thinking that also might be the three-headed dog. But
That's
Cerebus.
Cerebus, yeah. Yeah, Ouroboros.
Okay. Hour O
Ouroboros.
Boro S.
Looks like it's pronounced differently. Eurobos? Eurobos? Yeah. I'm not sure. Damn it. Pronunciation, why?
Adam Savage says,
Depicting a serpent or dragon eating its own tail. Ancient symbol. Originating in ancient Egyptian iconography. It was entered Western traditional via Greek magical tradition and adopted as a symbol in Gnosticism and Hermeticism, and most notably in alchemy. Well,
because doesn't the Hippocratic Oath have something to do with
a what?
The serpent? Doesn't the Hippocratic Oath? Why am I thinking
the
about
staff?
Isn't it a serpent like that?
Hippocrates? God, I haven't dealt with any of these things in like 30 years.
Yeah.
Hippocrates, or is it Asclepius? Asclepius?
That one I don't even know. Hippocrates would be the Hippocratic Oath. Would have to do with Hippocrates.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of the staff.
Oh.
Specifically, that's not gonna help. Oh, jeez. I know exactly how to spell ancient Greek words.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Groovy.
Well, you're getting the ancient god here. Hippocrates, super staff specifically. Hippocrates. Hippocrates. Okay, in Greek mythology, I put in Hippocrates' staff.
Yep.
It says in Greek mythology, the rod of Asclepius.
Asclepius?
Asclepius.
Okay.
Sometimes also, there's lots of different spellings. Also known as the staff of Asclepius and the Asclepian. Is a serpent entwined rod wielded by the god Asclepius, a deity associated with healing and medicine. This particular image of it shows one snake on a staff. I heard something recently that was saying, like, I think it may be specifically dealing with the image of two snakes on a staff, was actually misrepresenting and meant something different than what it was intended to mean.
Oh, yeah?
But I don't recall the specifics on that. Did you have a more? Do you have a question that led to that?
No, but okay. I do have a kind of a closing item that we can discuss when you're
versus one snake staff. Go ahead. Snake.
So if we're gonna bring this back in,
Caduceus is often mistakenly used as a symbol of medicine because it's similar to the rod of Asclepius. Summarizing, the Caduceus has two snakes on the staff and wings at the top. The rod of Asclepius has a single snake and no wings. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, good. So getting back to our titular moment, which was, I believe, Ubiquitous Man and Mr. Obsequious. So, in a battle between these two, I think I already know the answer, because I didn't know what Obsequious meant. So the question was probably better when I went with my other thought of what Obsequious meant. But if we're saying Obsequious Man means toady, or Obsequious Man would be everywhere, and no, Ubiquitous Man would be everywhere. and Mr. Obsequious would be like Mr. Toady, right? He's going to be a minion. So I'm thinking that my money's going to be on Ubiquitous Man. How about you?
Your money on him to what?
So, like, I mean, if we were going back to the They Might Be Giants, Triangle Man versus Particle Man.
Oh, in a fight?
Yeah, in a fight, who wins between Obsequious, Mr. Obsequious?
I suppose it depends on how slimy and underhanded the Obsequious Man may be.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he willing to resort to? What's he willing to resort to? Is he willing to resort to mass genocide of of the ambiguous man?
That's a more interesting question, right? It's like what does it take for for Obsequious Man to beat Mr. Ubiquitous, right?
Yeah.
And you're saying he's got to go low. He's got to hit below the belt, right?
How everywhere is Ubiquitous Man? Is he so everywhere that no matter how hard
he's like water, right?
Obsequious Man tries, he can't poison all of them at once?
Well, I remember a cheesy like ninja book I read in the 80s, amongst all the other good non-cheesy ninja books they had in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And it was talked about the way of the water, right? When you put the sword in the water, it is in the water's power to be everywhere that the sword is not. And it's kind of like that's what you're saying, right? He's so ubiquitous, he can be everywhere. So you can't attack him because whenever you try to be where he is, he can be everywhere else.
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking. Why he would be tough. He would be tough.
Although if he's like, if you're talking about like atoms and stuff, and does he like show up where you expect him to be? Then he's everywhere and nowhere at once. But if he shows up where you expect him to be, so
he has a tendency to be.
Has a tendency.
He has a tendency to be places. He is neither. The cat is both alive and dead. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. But yeah, that's how I'm kind of thinking about him. But then, if he is so obsequious, he probably doesn't have Mr. Toady on his radar at all, right?
If he's ubiquitous, he doesn't have.
Yeah, Mr. Ubiquitous is or Ubiquitous Man. Ubiquitous Man, he doesn't even have.
Well, if he's ubiquitous, he probably has a lot of obsequious men on his radar.
You think so? Or is it just like
there are a lot of obsequious?
Or are they like ants to him? Maybe, you know what I mean? That's what I think. I'm thinking, like it's like Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, in the grand scheme, there's like, lots of other fish.
Like he just like this don't even chart, and that'll be his downfall. Was that the Death Star, right? It was that they weren't expecting a squadron of small fighter pilots to go in, and that's why that vent was left unprotected. Now I guess you don't.
Indeed. Sorry, I took a sip of my
I know
other coffee I had, and it was unexpectedly flavored, and I was taken aback.
No,
I
appreciate you playing Particle Man versus Triangle Man with me, Randy, with our words. And I think this is going to help me, though, greatly. This conversation, I think, is going to greatly help me to be able to remember and not mistake those words again.
And also, good point. Also, it sounds like a good cartoon strip for you to make. A good animation.
Yeah.
How that would play out.
Yeah, we might have to think about that. The further adventures of Ubiquitous Man, and as he takes on his arch nemesis.
I would like to see you do an animated comic strip sort of thing.
I had toyed with being a comic strip artist as a career.
Yeah.
And I had done in college, I had one quarter had done a comic strip, and I found it to be a hugely rewarding experience.
It might be a good personal exercise for you too, because my worry would be that you would be too critical of yourself on it. And too worrying about people's opinions of it.
Yeah.
But I think you would do well with it.
Thanks.
I think you would do a good job with it.
That's interesting.
And it would be good for you to exercise in getting over those personal holdbacks in that way.
Noted. One of the things,
in a good way, not
one of the things that I thought about was kind of this this was when we were transitioning from, to the digital world, was it's like, well, I bet you I could do this all digital, right? And then I was like, maybe I could do it digital, but you use like animated GIFs. And so you have a partially animated cartoon. So it'd be like a traditional kind of like Calvin and Hobbesy type cartoon, but there would be some animation in at least one of the cells, right? And it was like, it wouldn't be that hard to do that. And it's kind of an in-between between an animated, and a non-animated. You know what I'm saying?
I missed part of what you said.
Adding, if you thought about doing like a digital comic strip, so it looked like a traditional comic strip, like a 3-panel, 4-panel comic strip, right? Like a Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
But like you would use animated GIFs instead of static images. So you could have a little bit of motion and at least maybe in like, say, the third, you got 4 cells. The third one actually has
that's awesome.
An automated GIF. And so
really
that was something that I thought about I had this idea of inklings in the digital world. So the comic strip idea that I had was these inklings, and they were just comic book characters who had become sentient.
You could play with time that way too. Sorry, in that idea they had for the comic strip of the animated clips, and like you could play with time
because it could be slow mo.
You
could show slow mo very easy.
By, like how much time passes in between each frame and how motion from one can carry directly over into another. There's lots to do. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, so that was something I toyed with for a little while, and I was actually kind of felt slightly vindicated a little bit that to learn like Dilbert, like he uses a Wacom tablet and did all his stuff digital, and at some point he transitioned and went completely digital, and I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. To some degree, but yeah, I'm surprised I never saw anybody really do that. I never really saw something that was kind of like a traditional. And if I did that, I always like the Sunday comics, because it was a larger format. And Bill Watterson of Calvin and Hobbes, he always tended to do something a little extra, something special on your Sunday comic, and that would be one that maybe you do it like a large frame, something like that. But it seemed like that there was something there, kind of combining mediums. But with that, Randy.
Cool. I got some information on the Rod of Asclepius versus the Caduceus. So,
okay.
The Rod of Asclepius symbol is often confused with the Caduceus symbol of commerce. So a lot of people use the Caduceus, which is the 2 snakes on the staff image, as a medical symbol, when in fact it's a symbol of commerce associated with Hermes.
That's actually one of my favorite non-cuss words. I call people a caduceus nozzle.
Caduceus is a symbol of a quote around it. English. Okay, that goes in the way more. So actually, that may be more apropos of a lot of the medical industry and some hospitals. The way that they deal with their patients is that it's all about the commerce. But that's unfortunate, but in some cases true.
Yes, agreed.
Much to the chagrin of the people who are actually trying to help you in those situations.
Caduceus and Asclepius. Those are ones to grow on, my friend.
The Rod of Asclepius.
You brought it up a notch, Randy.
Versus the Caduceus.
The Caduceus. So and let's hit that again. So the Rod of Asclepius combines the snake with a rod, and then the rod of the symbols often Caduceus. So what is the Caduceus? The
Caduceus is a symbol consisted of a rod with 2 snakes coiled around it.
Oh, so one is the snake eating its snake's tail, right?
No, that is the Ouroboros.
Okay. Yes.
Ouroboros. That is a snake or serpent eating its own tail.
And then the Rod of Asclepius is a snake with a rod. So it's just a rod and a snake.
Yep.
And then
the Rod of Asclepius.
And then the Caduceus symbol is a rod with 2 snakes.
Correct.
Okay. And neither of those snakes are eating their own tails.
Correct.
Okay.
In the Rod of Asclepius, it actually states an aspect of it that I had not noticed before. It says the serpent with its change of skin symbolizes her birth and fertility. So I never noticed that aspect of it before, that there's something going on with its skin. I'm not seeing a picture that depicts that exactly. It just looks like a snake on a stick, so I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Randy, okay, yeah. Oh yeah.
And also, the Caduceus does have the wings on these images anyway. I don't know if that's always omnipresent or anything, but so it's 2 snakes with the wings on it on the staff.
I'm looking there at the Rod of Asclepius.
Yeah.
There. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing that in comparison, the Rod of Ablation probably has a lot less snake. That's a
I
callback to
believe
it.
so.
That was a callback
Yep.
to an earlier episode. So you have to go into the archives if you want.
Oh, did we clear that up?
I don't
Whether
think you
oblation
did.
was
I think
the right.
I think ablation, right, rather than oblation. I think I was saying oblation, and I believe it's ablation.
Let's see. That's talking about cardiac ablation, destroying tissue.
Ablatio
Yeah,
penis.
yeah.
I think
You were
is
saying
what
like oblatio.
but that you have ablation, so you might, if you do ablatio instead of ablation, it might help you.
We're really going over today. Yeah, ablation is the surgical
Wow, we did.
removal of body tissue, the removal of snow and ice by melting, blah 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 blah.
Ablation, yeah, and so I was saying ablated
sometimes confused with oblation, which is
because I was thinking like to obliterate.
Yeah, a thing presented or offered to God or a god.
Well, which is funny because circumcisions are often religious and right. They can be, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if the act itself is like a religious ceremony.
I believe that isn't that a. Oh man, and I apologize. I'm not trying to. I think a bris isn't a bris.
Yes, a bris is a circumcision, but I don't know like.
But I think it's a
aspect of that.
Yeah, I think it's a religious ceremony around it. But you know, to your own fact finding.
That's something to talk about another time.
Yeah,
it sounds like a good exploratory exercise.
Yeah, but I think that was a good
Potential.
point to bring that up, Randy, about because I don't think we ever did get back to it about the oblation versus the ablation. And I remember, because I was thinking oblation versus obliterated.
Sorry, I just realized what time it was. Do you know what time it is?
Yeah, I do. I did. When you said wow, we went long, and I looked and I was like, yeah, we did go long. So I didn't want to get to the titular moment, so that I didn't have another. I didn't get more scorn from our friend Ducifer saying, you mentioned these people and you never even talked about them. So I appreciate you, Randy, sticking around so that we could have that conversation. And we'll pick some of these conversations back up. I want to thank everybody for their time and attention. If anybody made it to almost the 3-hour mark, god damn, we sure appreciate y'all.
No doubt.
That's good stuff. If you made it this far, Randy, there's a word I want somebody, if they've made it this far, you need to put ablation or oblation in the comments. If you actually made it this far, I want to know that you made it this far. So put ablation or oblation or any murdering of that word that you think you can be hooked on phonics and you spell it however you think it ought to be. So I want to thank anybody who did make it this far. Randy, I want to thank you for sticking around. Thanks, Shay, again, for her coming in on Tuesday. Remember, everybody, to hit all those buttons that matter down there. You got the subscribe button. That's Cooper. He knows that we're getting ready to motivate and relocate, so he's getting his shake on. He's putting a wiggle on it. So yeah, remember to like, share, and subscribe. When you hit the subscribe, you get access to the bell notification. When you click that means that Captain Krusty is going to come down here to pick us up. And this is going to be funny because he's like, I'm probably not supposed to be down here. Although he actually doesn't sound like that because he's not Krusty. That's kind of the oxymoron of the whole thing, right?
It irks me that you refer to my town crier bell as a submarine bell.
It's multi-purpose, my friend. Dive. And so we have that. We have the links to all the stuff down below. The quasi shop, the Patreon links, Instagrams where we post daily, and so we have all of that stuff. Please definitely check out the Amazon affiliate links. Notice that we haven't gotten any clicks in January, so but we did get our first paycheck, so we want to try to keep that train moving. And we will be back next Tuesday for more antics. Randy, I'm going to begin working on the video for some of the D&D stuff, the boards. So that's kind of the next edited video.
Nice. And
then I think that's probably all of the particulars. Did you have anything else? Rod of Ablation was in EverQuest.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm not finding that exactly, but it would be Rod of Ablation.
As an O.
As an A, ablation.
Ablation.
For removal of like a body part and stuff, as opposed to well, I guess it depends on exactly how you're going to it. Oblation is offering to a god, so potentially
could be either one. And I don't remember. I was thinking it was OB and the EverQuest item, but it might not be.
EverQuest.
Yeah, or EQ.
Let's see. Sorry, we need to wrap this up.
Yeah, it is Rod of Ablations.
Yep. in
Yeah,
EverQuest.
that was pretty
Yep.
funny.
Said something about it being a joke, but I don't know if that was. Anyway, okay.
That is such vendor trash. It's not even worth. Is that no drop? It's lure, so you can only have one of them, and it's not no drop, so you can trade it.
It's disturbing me that Trump played EQ.
It's the rod of bigness. But anyways, Randy, do you have anything else that you want to leave our fair listeners with?
Love yourselves and love one another, my friend.
Yep.
Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah, stick around.
Thanks for
and
coming
then,
to
and then
play.
the doctor's promise: never cowardly, never cruel, never give up, never give in. Thanks for listening, everybody. We really appreciate it. Have a great day. We'll talk with you soon.